important job for you this week. Very, 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 very important job for you this week.
And what's that?
I am tired.
Okay.
Like, I have been sleeping. I've been just waking up after 4 hours. I've been very sleepy. And one of the reasons I think I'm so tired is because I've been drinking so much coffee because I've only been sleeping for 4 hours.
Oh, okay.
So it's like, I didn't get any sleep last night. I just need to guzzle coffee all day. And then it comes time to go to bed. And I'm like, fuck, I've done this to myself.
See, that's when the caffeine will betray you every chance it gets.
Well, that and the pooping. But
that's
so
the other part.
I need you to be like my shining turtle of hope. Because
I just came from work. I don't know if that was a good idea.
Okay, well, then maybe this is just going to be a real miserable podcast.
I'm going to be the god turtle. Is that what you're telling
you be
me?
the god turtle. I'll be the spider clown. Hey, everyone, welcome back to the Rage Select podcast right here on Rage Select. I'm Jeff.
And I'm like,
we have a shitload to go over today, so I'm not going to ask more than one time briefly. Hey, been up to anything cool?
I've been playing a lot of Mortal Kombat.
It's great now. The towers are fixed, right?
An intense amount of Mortal Kombat. I've been playing.
Like, oh, the crypt. You could just totally get all the crypt coins that you want now.
Yeah, oh, thank God for that. I finally got Johnny Cage's second fatality, which I've been doing all over the fucking place.
There you go.
I just did Liu Kang and Sub-Zero's first stage of towers.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm in the middle of Johnny's right now.
Those, I tell you what, those like stage 3 and 4 towers are starting to. Of course, you know, it's like the stage 3 tower. One of the requirements was like you had to do a certain number of crushing blows.
Oh, okay.
And so I wasn't doing that many crushing blows, and then it was like, well, I guess I'm going to learn all of Kitana's weird crushing blows and where and when to use them. But yeah,
I do them all on accident, to be honest.
Yeah. But Mortal Kombat is great. Forager is great. We did a video for that.
Yes.
I continued playing that.
Oh, you did?
It kind of turns into a clicker game eventually because you get access to a bunch of automation that just starts automating all those things that I was doing.
Neat.
And then you're just kind of waiting for the next thing to pop. And
Did you figure out a better way of killing the ram things or whatever they were?
you get a cybernetic drone that will shoot them with lasers eventually. So,
Nice.
But enough about video games. This is the beginning of the Rage Select podcast where we talk about movies, and there are two movie trailers in particular. The first one, as already foreshadowed, It Chapter 2 finally got its teaser trailer. I know a lot of people were really excited about this.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I never saw the first It.
Oh, okay.
But I'm a big fan of Bill Hader.
Okay.
And so I'll watch it.
I mean, like, is it weird that James McAvoy is like the he's never really been able to fully suppress his accent, has he?
No, fuck no. As far as I can tell, no.
But
he always tries and fails every fucking time.
yeah, It Too, where everybody comes back to the town that they all left. But okay, the only thing that kind of saves this part of the story for me is that they all forget, right? They forget what happened. And it isn't until they all come back that they all remember what happened. And it's just like, why? If you knew what happened, why would you ever go back to the scary clown sewer town where all the children float? And
because you got to beat up the sewer clown thingamajig.
It's like, if you knew that, wouldn't you just spend like years becoming the world's greatest martial artist and then just fucking fatality that old lady in the trailer? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've never been the biggest fan of the world of the It storyline. I just bitched at you for like 10 minutes about it.
Yeah, he did. And my only issue is they didn't get Jason Ritter to play the role that John Ritter played.
Oh, okay.
They really should have just done that.
That's so deep. I can't.
I would have given it a 10 out of 10.
I can't co-sign on that. You haven't even seen the first one.
Exactly. 10 out of 10. Jason
Have you been
Ritter.
waiting to see the second one until you see the first one?
No,
like,
I just
back
never got around to it. So
okay,
I'll watch it. Maybe I should do that. I don't know.
Last week, I tell you what, if you're into horror movies, last week I finally got around to watching a recommendation that Amanda made to me a while called You Might Be the Killer. That's got okay. God damn it! I should have prepared for this.
I've heard of it because of Amanda.
Yeah, it's a very low budget movie. It's a Shudder original. It's on Shudder, and the main character is the is that his name? Franz Kranz.
Is that really his name?
Yep. Fran Kranz. So that's the Francis, I guess is his name. But anyway, you know the nerdy guy in Dollhouse?
Oh, yeah.
He's been in like a bunch of the Joss Whedon stuff.
Yeah.
Like he plays this camp counselor, and it starts out kind of in media res with him running through the forest covered in blood. And then he calls his friend, Allison Hannigan, who was Willow, is that right? In Buffy the Vampire Slayer? And she works at a comic book store, and he's like, there's a killer at this summer camp. And she's like, yeah, that'll happen. And he's like, well, you have to help me. What's what's going on. And then it's kind of like, it's very much told out of order, and it's got a kind of like what happened here and like 2 days earlier and 3 weeks later and all that stuff. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. It just flies right by. It never stops. And, it takes place in 2 places, a summer camp and a comic book store. Like,
oh, okay.
It's good. It's worth an hour and 20 minutes if you need something to tide you over until Chapter 2 comes out. If you need something to tide you over until Spider-Man Far From Home comes out, I mean,
just play Spider-Man on PS4.
Go to the theater and watch Endgame. Do anything. There's so many options if you need more Spider-Man in your life. It's like you can watch Into the Spider-Verse again. You can watch Spider-Man Homecoming. You can watch Avengers Infinity War. You can watch Endgame. You can play the PS4 Spider-Man game.
There's a lot of Spider-Man things going on right now.
You can just you can go read Spider-Man comics.
Yes.
You can go catch a bunch of Spider-Man comics.
Just go to your local comic book shop and ask for the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
You can find Michael and look at his T-shirt, and like 5 out of every 7 times you see him, it's going to have some Spider-Man on it.
Pretty much. You can just ask me about Spider-Man, and I will talk to you.
You were wearing an Infinity War parody shirt of the cover of the original Infinity War comic with nothing but Spider-Man on it that says the Infinite Spiders.
Yes. They're all different Spider-Mans, and I could name like 90% of them.
No, we don't have time for that. We don't have time
and
for
this one is this one. This one works at a convenience store.
This trailer is difficult to talk about. Like, we cannot really dive into it in any real way, shape, or form.
It is literally impossible
because it's a spoiler for the end of Endgame. Like, the first second of this trailer is like a spoiler for Endgame, and it's like, in fact, weird British Tom Holland comes out to tell you don't watch this unless you've seen Avengers Endgame. I'm actually very British.
He's super British. People forget that a lot of British people play our superheroes now.
I didn't know.
Like Superman's British as fuck.
Every time I don't know somebody is British, and then I find out that they're British, it just makes me feel like they're putting on some kind of fancy airs for this thing. Anyway, so Spider-Man.
So Spider-Man learns how to be English when he goes to Europe.
Yeah, Spider-Man. He's putting on a fake British accent the entire time. But no, I actually think I'm more excited about this now than I was with the first trailer.
I'm definitely much more excited. I don't want to say why, but I'm much more excited. It involves Mysterio.
Yeah, well, it's just the first trailer looked like just another Spider-Man adventure, right?
Yeah.
And I am not the world's greatest fan of Spider-Man because the teenager stuff bores me. Right?
Because you're old now.
It's because I'm old, and I think teenagers are stupid. They should get off my lawn and stop blah blah blah. Right? Your phone's too much. Your phone's way too much.
Stop using the selfies.
That's right. With your selfies and your grams and your Ubers.
In my day, I had to start fucking turning a dial to take another picture.
That's right. I had to set a timer and then run and then hope that I could get in position. No, but what we're trying to say here is anybody who sees this trailer will understand that the stuff that is coming into this from Endgame makes it seem like a more interesting movie than just a Spider-Man goes on vacation, right?
Yeah, it's
just vacation Spider-Man.
It's very much more it's also kind of a look, from what I hear from the directors, it's also supposed to be a look into Peter Parker's return into his life after everything went down in Infinity War,
right?
As well, so it's like it has to deal with the implications of being Spider-Man.
The implications, because of the implications.
Because of the implications. Because you're in Europe, they're not going to say no. Because why would they?
Sounds like you're saying something bad is going to happen to Spider-Man.
Nothing bad's going to happen to him. But if he says no to Nick Fury, he can't say no, because where is he going to go? Because of the implication.
Anyway, so yeah, Spider-Man, I don't know. I mean, I'm more, like I said, I'm more interested than I was before. We'll see. When does that come out? Is it like next week or something? I mean, goddamn, guys. Like a little bit of time, just a little bit of time between movies.
Well, it comes out in July 5th.
I mean, that's too soon. That's right
soon.
before E3. That's,
It's the RTX weekend, actually.
Oh, God. Come on, Marvel. Get your shit together. In any case, I'll probably go see it. Probably not in the theater, though.
I'm going to watch it pretty fast.
What? You?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I don't even know actually because of the RTX thing. Because I might be at RTX this year.
Yeah.
So we'll have to figure that one out.
I just figure like it's going to be a race between you and Jason Murphy to see who can get into their seat faster to watch the new Spider-Man movie.
I'm younger, so I could probably do it.
You probably take him,
but I'm more out of shape than he is.
But
so
that's
it could
true.
be either way.
He's been working out for the Modern
I
Road.
literally popped my arm when I did the little motion.
Yeah.
And it was loud.
You moved your arm slightly and it popped.
I
Anyway,
think I broke something.
last piece of movie news before we jump back into it because we got a lot this week. Apparently, the directors of that Sonic the Hedgehog abomination have heard you, Internet, and they're going to change what Sonic looks like before the movie comes out in 6 months.
Yeah, it's a bold strategy to get the FX guys to work their ass off to change this abomination.
I mean, like it's just going to be the model of. I mean, they're not going to do like reshoots. I mean, okay,
It's a lot of work because there's a lot of fur on that character model.
oh yeah, 100%, like 100%. I guess here's the question. Let's put our money on the table right now, or you put your money on the table. I don't care.
Okay.
One eyeball or two? Are they going to make it the big one eye?
No, it has to be two.
It's gotta be
'cause
two?
Doing one just makes it creepier, to be honest.
So just like making the eyes bigger, remove his teeth,
Like, just don't make us... Because that was what the teeth is really what makes it super fucking creepy to me.
put some gloves on him.
Maybe on that one. Although I like the idea of if they decide to do the one eye, it's just one giant goggle to make it like so it looks like it's one eye, but it's just the goggle that he has on.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I've already said that I don't really understand Sonic, and that this movie doesn't look like it's anywhere near for me.
It's still a really like terrible concept of Sonic comes into our world. Like,
Right.
I hate that anything like the Monster Hunter movie is supposed to do something like that, which frustrates me to no end. So it's like, why do I hate these premises?
Also, I've been looking online. Has like Detective Pikachu got like a 50 on Metacritic? It's got a little like
Did it?
like E.
I don't know. My roommate watched it and he really liked it,
Okay.
but he says there was some like weird stuff here and there.
Okay. Well, I tell you what. Enough of these blue hedgehogs and spiders and other spiders. Spiders, both man
Spider hogs.
and clown. We have Sony. We have a few big announcements that happened this week. The first one was that Sony did another one of their state of play things, which basically is just a Nintendo Direct where they show a bunch of trailers back to back,
Yeah.
but these are always like 20 minutes and they have no through line. It's unlike the Nintendo Direct, but you know what? They're not going to E3 this year. You got to show your shit at some point.
Yeah.
So there was a bunch of new trailers. There's one that's in here that I didn't even make you watch that I'm not going to talk about. That's just some garbage arcade game that looks like shit. But
Now I'm curious.
yeah, I'm just kidding. You remember the game like Fat Princess Adventures?
Yeah.
Kind of looked something like that.
Oh, okay. I didn't really care for that.
Monster Hunter World is this has been teased for a while. This Iceborne.
Yeah, they've been talking about this for a long time. They actually had a contest where people could send their ideas for weapons,
Okay.
and then they would end up using them for this expansion.
What about a giant bone?
A giant bone that just says boner on it. It's perfect. Just write it in ice. It's going to be gorgeous.
Yeah. What about like a pelvis, but you put it on your head? It's like a dragon pelvis.
I feel like that's
You
a thing already.
turn it
probably.
upside down. What about metal? Why don't you use metal since that's like more powerful than bone, right?
You do have some metal weapons,
Yeah.
but they're not as cool looking.
Yeah. Anyway, you should speak to this more than I should because you actually like Monster Hunters.
I do. I was introduced to Monster Hunter some time ago, but yeah, this is an expansion. It's got some new maps that are all ice related. A giant reindeer-looking fucker and a
Snow Shark.
and a snow shark. Yeah, basically a snow shark who's kind of reminiscent of a few other monsters as well. And also the reintroduction of the Nargacuga, who was my arch fucking enemy for a long time in Monster Hunter 4.
Is that bat thing?
Yeah, he's like a bat.
Was he not in
wolf
Monster
thing.
Hunter World?
No, he was not until now.
Oh.
He was in all the other games though.
Okay.
And he can turn invisible and shoot spikes out of his tail.
That sounds like
and he's a fucking asshole to fight.
Sounds like a cheater to me.
He's a dick. But yeah, he's back, and they introduced the new wyvern. I can't remember how to say it, but it's like an ice dragon of some kind.
Okay.
But and also I guess some other monsters as well are going to be in different areas.
I mean, it looks like there's a bunch of like story stuff here as well. There's some kind of like through line about the singing and dragons and the ice and the north and all this shit. So Yeah, I don't know. I mean, would this get you back into Monster Hunter?
It might.
Yeah.
Just so I can murder that motherfucker again because I hate him with a
bat?
passion. I hate that motherfucker. Any chance to kill him again, I'll take it.
Okay.
But I'm a little rusty, so I have to get back into it.
A lot of strong feelings about that bat.
I hate that fucking dude. He killed me so many times, dude. You have no idea.
Let's see. From there, we got a. Speaking of invisible assholes, we got. I was immediately elated and then 100% deflated in the span of like 25 seconds because we got a trailer for Predator Hunting Grounds, a new Predator game where you've got a bunch of army guys and then there's the Predator watching them. It's the music from the first Predator movie, and then they were like, well, you can play this asymmetric multiplayer game where one person's the Predator and everybody else is the guys in 2020, and I'm just like, oh, fuck.
Jeff has never gained and lost an erection so fast in his life.
Yes, I think I hurt myself. I mean, like, I don't know. Is this a question? Has there ever been a good asymmetric multiplayer game?
Not an actual one that was designed around it, I feel.
I mean, there haven't even been that many, right? I mean, Evolve kind of...
Unless you count the horror ones, but they're not, like, fighting each other kind of thing.
Oh, right, like
the Friday the 13th one, and
the other one is what...
The one that has all the
movie monsters guys.
Monsters.
Yeah.
I can't remember right now.
Played it with Tony for Halloween.
Played all the time by people. It just released the DLC for it, too.
Okay, you know what? That might... That's actually a good point. That's a better point because
the thing is, you don't fight them. That's the thing. Is like you don't like. That's what makes those work.
Right.
Is that you're not like shooting at them. All the ones where you're versus each other, like those don't seem to work. Like Evolve, some of the other shooters ones that have done stuff.
I'm trying
like
to think of any of the other ones. I think I'm just
they just didn't really work. Is the problem?
I mean, there was
Evolve's the biggest one.
There was that Fable one that they were going to make where one person was the dungeon master.
Let's count Mario Party that way.
But asymmetric multiplayer games. I'm trying to think of if there's. Let's see, Dead by Daylight was that one.
Was the name of it.
Natural Selection.
Never heard of it.
Spy Party isn't really that. Okay. Depth worked.
Oh,
That's where one person got to be the shark.
Oh yeah,
and everyone was trying to kill the shark. That game was
kind of cool.
Was pretty amazing. Spy Party is pretty good, but I don't know that I call that. I mean, it's asymmetrical, but it's like still one-on-one because it's like where one person is basically playing The Sims and trying to complete an objective, and the other person is a sniper that's trying to find the spy. Man, did I played that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, man, maybe there's more of these out there than I thought.
Well, the thing is, like, for me, the ones that don't work the best are the ones where you actually have to fight each other, like per se. Because the reason I think Dead by Daylight and, the Friday the 13th one works so well,
right?
Because it's like you're hiding from them.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it, like, more not interesting, but it's how it works, I feel.
I guess there was the, Splinter Cell for a long time had that, like, spies versus mercenaries mode where it's like two people would be Splinter Cell agents and the other two would be like mercs.
That's right.
I guess it could probably be done. I guess it's just I don't have a lot of, I don't know. Maybe it's also the fact that, at least for me, I haven't enjoyed much of Predator outside of the movie Predator. Like, Predator 2 is okay. And I don't like any of the rest of them.
The things I like the most about Predator, besides the first movie, are all the weird comic crossovers they've done.
Yeah.
Like, I like the first two, Batman versus Predators. The third one's okay. The Superman versus Predator wasn't very good.
This is the same company that made Friday the 13th, the game.
Oh, the game?
Yeah. Well, it was co-developed and co-published by Gun Media, but because this is Ilphonic is making this, and they also made Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric.
Hooray? Question mark. Speaking of Sonic?
Yeah. And a game called Nexias and something to do with Star Citizen.
No idea.
I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. You know what? Let's inject a little bit of hopeful optimism here. Maybe it'll be good.
Maybe it'll be good.
Maybe it'll be good.
Maybe it'll be good.
Okay. Here's the thing. The Friday the 13th game did such a good job with having like skins based on characters based on the movies that if I could have a Dutch skin, then that would be cool. Or what's his name?
Or Shane Blackskin.
Who's the guy that plays Apollo Creed?
Fuck, dude. I know it, and you put me on the spot.
Yep.
It's in my brain now.
Yep.
And all I can think about is Arrested Development and him making a stew.
Yes.
I almost said Terry Crews. I know it's not Terry Crews. God damn it.
It's not Terry Crews. It's not Terry Crews. Anyway, who knows? It could be good. I mean, the trailer
He's an MKX, actually.
was a little pre-rendered thing that was, it was fine.
Yeah.
Next up, Medieval.
I love Medieval.
I feel like this was just a Sony show just for Michael.
It might as well have been. Because here's the thing about Medieval. Medieval was one of my first PlayStation games I ever played, and it was a demo actually.
Yeah,
and I was obsessed with this game for years.
Did you get the disc out of an Electronic Gaming Monthly magazine?
It came with the PlayStation actually.
Oh, okay, all right.
But I did eventually buy the game like years later. But it's one of my favorite little quirky storylines. Because the plot of it is that Sir Daniel Fortescue, the leader of the army, was charged into battle and was apparently defeated the wizard and saved the entirety of the city or the town and everything. But in reality, he got shot right in the fucking face in the first 5 seconds.
Yeah,
and he died. And so they lied and said he defeated him. But the wizard came back, and now Sir Daniel Fortescue was also brought to life from the
wizard
spell.
raised the dead and then raised this guy as well when he was doing
exactly.
that.
And so now he has a second chance to defeat the actual wizard in battle and be actually an actual praised hero.
Yeah,
but he's also missing his jaw, so he talks like a dummy. And I love the quirkiness of this game, and it's just so much fun. And
I mean, like I was saying, after seeing the Spyro remake and the Crash Bandicoot remake, anytime that somebody's decided to put the amount of effort that's going on in here into one of these remakes, I at least gotta I would give this a chance, right? Because it looks like they put so much work into it, and it looks fun.
I'm really glad it looks like they're going with the PS1 plotline. The PS2 or not the PS2, the PSP remake plotline I wasn't a big fan of.
Yeah.
Because they make him more of a coward.
This is too granular.
That's the thing. Well, because in the original story, he was still a great knight. He just happened to fucking die in the first 10 seconds.
Right.
Whereas in the PSP remake, they're like, oh, he charmed his way into becoming the leader and stuff, and he was actually a giant fucking coward. He died tying his fucking shoes, and I was like, that's kind of shitty. So I like the idea that they went back to him being an actual hero prior to getting shot.
Okay. Well, we'll find out in October. From there, if you like flying squirrels, apparently there's...
Do you like Rocky and Bullwinkle, but wish Rocky didn't talk at all?
Called Away, the Survival Series, which is like a little flying squirrel marsupial motherfucker kind of wandering around, jumping off of stuff, flying, squirreling their way around. The pitch for this game isn't exactly wowing me. I do kind of like there's some parts where they show being on the ground and the fact that your character is very small. So the things in nature that are a threat to you are things that that are smaller than what we would normally think. There's there's a point where he's going up against a scorpion or a snake. It's not a big character, but I just don't know exactly. It's too cryptic, this trailer. It's just
I'm still not sure what it's about. It looks like it's kind of cool to watch.
Yeah,
every now and then, because there'll be these great sequences. Towards the end of the trailer, he's riding a deer through a forest fire or something.
Yeah,
and it's this looks kind of neat, but what do I actually do?
But why? But what? But why? Yeah. I mean, you mentioned it before, but it does remind me a little bit of Ancestors.
Yeah, but interesting.
Yeah, a little more interesting looking than that. I don't know. I don't know.
Also, you can fly.
We'll see what happens. Well, you can glide.
You
flying squirrels. I see you. I see your PR. You managed to trick everybody. You don't fly. You glide.
Falls with style.
Yeah. And then last but not least, we finally got another look at the Final Fantasy VII Remake. I mean, up until now, it's mostly just been, cutscene montage?
Mostly, yeah.
This was also a cutscene montage. I mean, okay, listen. It's Final Fantasy VII, right? Everybody's played Final Fantasy VII in the world. Y'all remember what happened in Final Fantasy VII? There's a lot of stuff here. It looks very good. All the graphics look very good. The character models, I think, look real nice. All the particle effects and lighting and hair and the voice acting and all that stuff looks absolutely great. It also though looks like it plays like a Kingdom Hearts game, which I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah, I'm not actually a big fan of it either.
I feel at some point Square Enix decided that turn-based games weren't cool, and so now everything's got to have a it's got to be a real-time game, and Final Fantasy 15 was a real-time game, and Final Fantasy 14 is an MMO, and 13 was a real-time game, and 12 happened in real time with the dumb rules set up, and 11 was an MMO. I mean, you have to go back fucking 5 games to find a game that was turn-based that wasn't one of these the little like project Tokyo RPG team games. And I don't know, like this is a question, and I guess I need to be asking this to like everybody. I'll ask it to you, and then everybody else is like, did we all just really want just to have Final Fantasy VII with better graphics and like voice acting and cutscenes and stuff?
I kind of did.
I kind of did too.
I'd rather Barrett not also look like Wesley Snipes because he has like a weird pair of sunglasses for some reason in the middle of like a dark fucking city.
Well, he wears
come on, dude.
Sunglasses at night. Yeah, I don't know.
You can't take him off because of his gun arm, probably.
That's right. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like the other thing is that I guess over the years, Michael, I've kind of been Final Fantasy VII out.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Remember, we had Final Fantasy VII, and then we had the Dirge of Cerberus, and then we had was it Zero, not Zero Mission, the Zack game
the
on
Zack
the
one.
PSP, and Advent Children,
Dirge of Cerberus.
Yep, that was the first one I mentioned.
The fuck was it? I'm trying to remember the name of the Zack one.
Oh, the PSP one?
I was a big fan of that one. He didn't have an Omni. He had an Octo Slash attack, which was weird.
Only
just
8 slashes.
So he does 8 slashes instead of the 10 that that Cloud does.
That's such a fucking loser.
That's the thing is that like as I get older, okay, this is like how this is with Final Fantasy VII. It's kind of how my relationship with Gundam Wing is. It's like it was super awesome when I grew up
Crisis
with it,
Core.
but now I'm just like, you know what? Maybe it wasn't all that like interesting as I remember, kind of thing.
I mean, the thing is that Final Fantasy VII definitely had a spectacle moment of like, oh my god, I've never seen anything like this before.
And had a motorcycle minigame.
Yeah, and the Chocobo minigame. But like, you know, a lot of people forget some of the bad parts of Final Fantasy VII, like that.
Name like 5.
Breeding chocobos. Watching summons that go on for fucking 6 hours. Those goddamn weapons, they suck. Like, they were just super hard, and the game wasn't explicit about them. Cloud is the worst. he's a shitty wannabe, and he's a bad guy, and Zack is the real hero of this series. We all know it. And, well, you fucking fight me. I'll fight you. I will fight you. Also, Kate Sith is
he's kind of pointless.
Yeah,
he's just a spy for
Golden
a second.
Sphere is a little. There's that whole part where Cloud has to dress up in drag to infiltrate the.
That part's amazing, though, for all of the stupidest reasons.
And then, like, you know, it starts out with such a bang where like they assault the trade, and then it's like, now Cloud fell down into the Undercity, so let's doodle around for 5 hours down here, I guess. I'm gonna play on a playground with Eris the flower girl. How romantic!
You know what? I never actually liked Eris as a kid.
Yeah,
everyone's like, she was my favorite. I'm like, I didn't give a fuck about her. So when she died, I was like, I never trained you, so I never really had any issue with it.
That's like what Sephiroth needs his alien mom that.
It's a weird fucking story.
And like,
if you actually really pay attention to Final Fantasy,
Shinra wants to just like extract the lifeblood out of the planet so they can shoot lasers at their enemies, I guess, and that's a problem.
Something like that?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I don't dislike Final Fantasy VII. It's just like it's a Marsha thing where I'm like, hey man, you know what I liked? I liked Final Fantasy X, to be honest with you. Like I like Final Fantasy VI. Like I would much rather have seen Final Fantasy VI with fucking, you know, Kefka and then that whole big motley crew of crazy characters.
You want to suplex a train is what you're telling me.
What's that?
Which one was the one where you can suplex a train?
Yes, that was it. So where not Cypher, but the other guy. The Sabin, yes, could do that
fucking thing.
And you know, you got Terra, and it starts with the Magitech armor. I'm a 6 guy personally. And
I was a part 4 guy myself.
I understand that
I was a Cecil man myself.
Yeah, that 7. Cecil. 7 is
Cecil's awesome. I will not let you disparage Cecil's name. You can talk shit about Cloud all you want, but leave Cecil out.
His fashion choices when he turns into a white knight are questionable.
He looks amazing. He has got a white cape, and he's amazing. He flies a space moon.
You know what?
Space whale to the moon.
That's true. It was fine when it was in pixel, and then when I started seeing like an artist representation of what it looked like, and it was just like, oh my god. But then again, once you have to get used to like weird Final Fantasy clothing real quick,
pretty quickly
in this series.
A lot of zippers.
Made the switch to 7 or the switch to 3D, but 7 is good. 7 is fine. Nothing wrong with 7. I wish that they would make a turn-based. 15 had some kind of like option for when you stop moving, it like stops the game and you can make like tactical decisions. I'm lazy. I don't want to hold down an attack button for, you know, I just want to. Plus, how's it going to work? Like Final Fantasy 7, 15 was like the main character, like Noctis was your guy. And like in Kingdom Hearts, Sora is your guy. Like in Final Fantasy 7, you were telling other characters what to do. Like you were saying, Cloud attacks, Aerith is going to do a heal, and then Barrett's going to, hit his limit break this turn. So I wonder how that's going to work.
Oh, that's why I'm so confused by the gameplay trailer, because there are moments where it shows that you're clearly controlling Barrett.
Right.
For chunks of
maybe
it. So
like
switch
I don't really
know how it works. Yeah. Maybe it is turn-based-ish. I don't know.
Maybe it is.
Maybe it's that thing that you told me ages ago, where like you get to hit the button and just plays it in real time, and then
that would be really cool.
That would be really cool if that's what it was.
That'd be really cool if it is though. But like it's just this little menu over here reminds me too much of Kingdom Hearts on the side where it says Punisher attack and commands menu.
That's why I'm having a hard time, because you see Barrett shooting there and Cloud blocking at the same time. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it's tough, and it looks like there's like the 3 bars there. So I don't know.
Maybe they'll do like 13. I like 13 system where it's like you chose your tactical.
Oh, okay.
Like what you wanted your tactics to be. 13.3, I believe, was an active time turn-based battle system.
Well, that'd be cool.
Boom. 13.2 is turn-based as well, just so that everybody doesn't tell me. In any case, I don't know. I have 2 reasons. One is I'm not immune. I'm not a heartless monster. I mean, I'll play this when it comes out. I don't know if I want to play it all the way through Final Fantasy 7, but at least I'll give it a shot, see how compelling it is nowadays. Because honestly, Michael, they've put it out on every platform, and I can't stand looking at that game anymore. Like, it looks like shit today.
I've been watching Team 4 Stars abridge of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've been doing an abridged of it, and it's the only way I can watch it at this point.
Oh, man. The sprites look like garbage and a half.
They get worse every year.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see. And then, the other reason is that once this game finally comes out, maybe I can finally get around to hearing something about Final Fantasy 16. Because, like, I like Final Fantasy, and I didn't like 15, and 14 was an MMO. And, I did like 13, but then it's like, well, let's talk about the MMO. Let's take the MMO offline for a year and retool it. Versus 13 has become 15. Let's talk about that for 3 years and finally put it out. Oh, did you not like that? Well, guess what's next? Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not a fan of Kingdom Hearts? Well, Final Fantasy 7 Remake. And I'm just like, can I just have a new one? I'm tired of nostalgia, guys. I just would like a new Final Fantasy. Maybe go back and make a medieval one. I mean, I don't know. I'm a crazy person, but like, maybe have like dragons and swords and shit. Like people like Game of Thrones, maybe, Anyway. We also had a huge trailer. Man, I'm so sorry to anybody that tuned into this that was looking for a happy jolly Jeff, because it's just kind of like
he's tired, guys.
It's not even that. It's like I don't think that this grouping of news would have made me happy regardless of what week it was. Unless I was
medieval, man,
just doing rails.
Fucking rad.
Well, I never played it. I said it looked good. Tom Clancy Ghost Recon Breakpoint has been announced, which I'm trying real hard here.
Ghost Recon used to be this futuristic, like, this is where we're going in the future kind of thing.
Yep.
Now it's a dude bro in a
like a beard and a hat. And
he looks like a guy who would serve me food at like Franklin's or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the whole plot line, they announced this. The whole plot line of this is it's like the future, and there's this like some tech guy that's made all these drones, and they're all, all over the world, and everybody's mad about it. So the ghosts are going to like the big island where he is, and they get shot down, and now they're like fighting for their lives. And there's another team of ghosts led by John Barenthal trying to kill our ghosty pals. And it just looks like a slightly better version of the last Ghost Recon game with a lot more drones for bad guys. Like it's a third person shooter. You're going to be having a team. You're going to be driving your dune buggy between mission objectives. Like it definitely, the quality of the gameplay looks good.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, like I was talking in the Discord chat about this. I feel like Ubisoft has become more and more of a soulless game developer. Like the Division 2, I still haven't anybody told me like what the fuck the point of the Division 2, like what is
Save America or whatever,
right? But from whom? Like, and then here it's like, well, the ghosts, they have to survive, and so there's this protracted sequence in this gameplay reveal where they're assaulting this building and they're trying to get to this lady, and I don't know why, and there's drones everywhere, and I don't know why anybody's. That's what it comes down to. I don't know why anybody's doing anything in this game, and so it's just a bunch of third person shooting people in the face and stabbing people and blowing stuff
I'm
up.
sure when the actual game comes out, we'll have an understanding of why they're doing the things. But my other issue is the trailers, that they're trying to make them badass, but then you watch them get chased by 3 drones and miss a bunch of times over and over again.
Yeah.
Until one of them gets shot by a drone, and it's like, you guys aren't really cool at this point. You're not selling me on the coolness of these guys.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so some of the things that they actually talked about, apparently you can bivouac anywhere and like make like a temporary base where you can do some like stuff, including you can change between any of the 4 starting classes kind of at will.
Okay.
So you don't have to stick to the same class. Apparently there's going to be some new damage system where if you get like shot up too much, you have to have like a special kind of healing for it, or else you'll like limp. So like if you're trying to get away from somebody chasing you, you know, you'll limp, or you might not be able to hold your gun all the way up or something like that. They have this whole thing where they're like talking about there's this big hunting mechanic, and I mean, you didn't really see it so much in the trailer, but like there is a lot of like drones and then like big automated tanks and all this like kind of Skynet-y stuff that you're going to have to be dealing with, which at least that is a good reason where you aren't going to have to shoot the same fat guy in body armor 700 times in order to kill him.
Yeah.
Except that then they showed that fat guy in the body armor later on in the trailer, so he's still here. I don't know. It's like half Metal Gear almost, like with this whole. If they all had AI nanomachines that help them fight, like this would be like the plot of MGS4, kind of.
I'd be cool with that.
But as it is, I mean, I guess
like if Vamp showed up out of nowhere, I'd be like, okay, I'd play this.
No, Sam Fisher showed up. But like, I was talking to somebody else. Again, I was talking about somebody in the Discord chat, and I'm like, I didn't really like Far Cry 5. And then like Ubisoft has just been like, The Division, Ghost Recon, what's the other one? Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh, okay.
Like they've been super focused on these military properties, and then I don't really like the Assassin's Creed games as much anymore. So it's like Ubisoft went from a company that I was really excited by the stuff that they were making, whereas now it feels like everything is kind of similar. Like it's all these just open world games.
So what you're saying is you want more Rabbids.
You know what? Mario Rabbids battle thing was like the best Ubisoft game I played in the last 2 years. So like,
okay.
If yes is the answer, if it's got Mario in it as well, or like Starlink,
I never said that though.
was better.
It's gonna be mini games all over again.
I don't know. I mean, just
only
like
mini games.
you
In
know,
a Nickelodeon show.
Like the thing is that there was a report like 2 weeks ago where they were like, you know, well, we've been thinking about making a Splinter Cell game, but like the fans react so strongly that we just want to make sure that we do that franchise justice, and it kind of scares us, the fervence that the fan base for Splinter Cell has. And I'm like,
just get fucking.
Or is it just because you can't make an open world Splinter Cell game, right? Because
maybe that's what it is.
That would work.
You can't climb towers with Sam Fisher,
right? And that you can't have like 3 other Sam Fishers with you. And then you play online with your friends so that we can do season 2 of Splinter Cell online.
Oh my god! If like there were like 3 other Sam Fishers, but they all still have the same voice actor,
yep,
that'd be fucking hysterical.
Yep. I think that's it more than anything else. I don't think that they can monetize a Splinter Cell game. What was the last like straight up single player game that Ubisoft made? It was that Mario Rabbids game, right? I mean, Starlink kind of, but you could play that with your friends, and that was a toys.
Well, Assassin's Creed doesn't have an online or multiplayer, does it?
Oh, that's true. Assassin's Creed does not have multiplayer.
At least these lately have not.
I'm so tired. I'm talking to my ass. In any case, you have any further thoughts? This just looks like such a generic third-person action game to me.
It looks like the kind of game that look bad. It's not really my interest as much as it used to be. Like, I'm sure it'll be fine, actually, to be honest. Like, I don't want to talk shit about a game that's still pretty in alpha. So it could look a lot more interesting as it progresses, but right now it's just drones versus dude beards, and I'm not really sure what to think of it yet.
Yeah, again, I mean, we were talking about it before, but like, Ghost Recon used to have guys that were fucking invisible, and now there's a button to have you roll around in the mud. It's like you used to be the Predator, and now you're fucking Arnold. And I liked it better when you were the Predator. Maybe that Predator game will let me turn invisible.
I would laugh if it didn't.
All right. Well, you know what? Oh no, I forgot the way that this works. I forgot the stories that I set up. So we're going to go from there to the bummer part of the podcast. Oh, man, because we have a lot of, let's say, the contentious part of the podcast.
Okay.
A lot of contentious stuff. So,
we're not going to talk about the one thing that happened this morning, by the way.
No, the thing you were telling me about
The
when
thing I was talking about when I got here.
No,
Yeah.
we don't have enough time for that.
I'm telling the audience, though.
We don't have time for
We're
that.
going to talk about the big thing that happened.
We'll talk about a lot of
We'll
other
talk about
stuff.
that next time.
There's a lot of other stuff. So Senator Josh Hawley is planning on announcing a bill in the U.S. Senate that would regulate or outright ban loot boxes in games sold to minors. Now, this is like, let's be clear here. This senator is Republican from Missouri, I believe, and he was one of the ones that was like, Facebook is censoring conservatives.
Yeah.
We need to drag them in front and ask them a bunch of silly questions. However, this is an act that would basically, make it illegal to have loot boxes in a game that was aimed at children. It does bring up a bunch of interesting questions, though, right? Like, Overwatch is rated T for teens.
Yeah.
Is that marketed towards children? I mean,
well, I think part of the wording of it I heard was that it also mentions like developers that knowingly know that kids might play their game or something like that.
Right.
Like, it's like
a
a
real
weird
hazy place.
Yeah, it makes it like really weird because it's like then that adds M-rated kind of to it because parents don't give a fuck what their kids play sometimes.
Yeah,
it's a tricky one.
It's very tricky. This is the sort of thing that the ESRB should have. Well,
they should have paid it. They should have they should have used loot boxes in some of their ideas of ratings, but they just sort of let it slide.
Yeah, I think that maybe what I'm trying to say is this is the reason that you maybe want to internally regulate this, except that the companies that do loot boxes, they will fight to the end to have loot boxes in their game, right? Like, they are not going to King is not going to voluntarily stop putting microtransactions in Candy Crush for anything, for any amount of money. It doesn't matter how much money that game makes. They want more money, so they're going to put it in there. So in some cases, it's like, well, is this the only way to get loot box? Like, our choices are what? Live with it, loot boxes in whatever, because we're still like year 3 of loot boxes. Like,
it's probably a little longer than that.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on. It depends on whether you count like Overwatch or whether you go back to like Magic: The Gathering, because you used to be able to buy the packs of cards and then they had the random cards in them and stuff like that.
Well, that's basically what it is. Like that's all loot boxes are. They're just the pack of cards you'd buy in general.
Yeah. So I don't know. This one is like, considering the way I'm not going off too far on this tangent, but considering how our government acts right now, it's like I don't want lawmakers, because
even if this passes, I think the hard thing is, how do you enforce something like this?
Right. Because I don't think that this guy cares about loot box. Like,
no, he doesn't.
Here's the thing. I don't think that he cares that loot boxes make video games worse. I think that he's found a thing that old people and non-gamers reliably can trot out as another example of like, we gotta save the children with this. It's like,
because the name of the bill is like the something children
Protecting
Act,
Children
right?
from Abusive Games Act.
Yeah, there it is.
Right. Like, I
always think of The Simpsons. Somebody think of the children, like that sequence. I always think when something like this comes up.
Right.
Like, I like the thing about loot boxes is they're both one of the best and worst things that have ever happened to games.
Yeah.
Like, because some people are able to do decent things with it. Like Overwatch, I think, is able to make loot boxes work the way I think they can.
You know what?
But then, like, fucking Star Wars tried to fuck that for everybody.
See, the thing is that I think that for me, the reason that Overwatch has never been a problem is that the Overwatch loot boxes have resulted in free content in that game that in any previous game you would have ended up paying for. It would have been DLC Pack 1, DLC Pack 2, DLC Pack 3, right? That like those new characters, new maps, new game modes, the seasonal events, like a lot of that stuff would have been paid additional content. And the idea that there's this loot box system in there, that's a great thing. But then, yeah, you get into places where it just starts to become gross. And the thing is that I honestly understand there's also an argument that's made quite often that like you're not just protecting children, you're also protecting like adults with a gambling habit.
Yeah.
But I'm also kind of 50-50 with that particular argument because like Michael, I'm addicted to cigarettes and they sell those at every fucking store, right? Like it's not like everything that's addictive is outlawed. We don't outlaw everything that's addictive. Caffeine is addictive as fuck, right? And we let people do the alcohol can be addictive. You know, there are things out there that can be addictive and we still let people use them in moderation, even though they hurt some people. So the whole adults with a gambling problem thing, I am sympathetic. Like I don't want to come off like a cold-hearted bastard, but we do let people ruin their lives in this country. Like we don't protect people from everything. You know, like what was the point that was made a long time ago? Like if you wanted everybody to be safe, you know, every car would go 40 miles an hour and have a 4-point harness in it. No one would ever die of a car accident ever again. You could make a car with a top speed of 40 miles an hour that wouldn't start unless you put on a fucking 6-point safety harness and nobody would die in a car accident ever again. Now, everybody would fucking hate it.
No, absolutely.
Right? Like, you look at the death statistics for heart disease, and if we just said nobody can eat fucking cheeseburgers anymore, lots of people would survive. So many people would survive, but we make that trade-off. However, I really wish that the ESRB wasn't so dead set against like doing anything about this. At least putting a big, like you said, a big thing next to the rated E for everyone plus LB for rated ELB for everyone loot boxes, you know.
Like I get the idea of it. Like honestly it could work for like I think it would be best for it to be used on mobile games. The mobile games are ridiculous about that.
Oh, they're so bad.
Whereas
so
like I think video game like, you know, console games and most PC games are pretty good about it at letting you know that, hey, this is going to cost money and hey, this is your last chance. You have like so many chances to turn back.
Right.
Kind of thing. Whereas with mobile, they're just like, you just bought like $50 worth of this thing. Good luck with that. And I'm like, okay, what?
Also, I mean, there's maybe an argument to be made here that I don't see very often of just like, hey, when it says T for teen, that doesn't mean E for everyone. Like, when a game says T for teen, that it's like, you know, you don't let your kids watch rated R movies, so don't let them play M-rated games or T for teen games, right? Like, the thing is that there's a certain amount of responsibility that has to be like, if all you did was like download Candy Crush on a phone and then hand it off to a child, well, whoever handed that kid that phone kind of has some culpability in what happens next, right? It's like, oh, they've spent $5,000 on my bill in Candy Crush. And it's like, you didn't bother. I mean, you know,
like, you gave a kid a game that has access to your credit card,
but you just didn't, or you didn't spend 1 second like reading online like what this game is or trying it out for yourself to see if it's like a bad thing. Like you wouldn't just open up a can of like mystery food and then be like, it's probably safe for my kid. Here, have some of this. Like some of this also I put on the parents. But in any case,
people are totally like that though.
Yeah, I know.
And then they put it on YouTube.
Yep. This is a weird thing. I'm kind of hoping that this just ends up being a stunt. But on the other hand, I don't like loot boxes. Anyway, we've been all around this. You know what else I don't like?
What?
Randy Pitchford.
Oh, no one likes Randy Pitchford.
So last week we found out that the person who did the voice of Claptrap, David Eddings, in the first two Borderlands games, and I believe the pre-sequel, will not be doing the voice of Claptrap for Borderlands 3.
Oh, no.
When asked about it, he basically... So he used to be I believe it was like he wasn't the CFO. He was like part of the... he worked at Gearbox.
Yeah.
Right.
He wasn't like a voice actor.
He wasn't a voice
originally.
actor. He did those games. Apparently, he was never compensated. Now he's asking. He said he would do Claptrap for the third one if he was compensated. Randy Pitchford started running his fucking mouth. Like, Gearbox released a statement that was just like, well, people, blah, 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 blah.
People change or whatever, like that sort of thing.
We wish him well, and Randy Pitchford was like, fuck that guy. Like, I didn't want him on here unless he was cool anyway. And and then he came back and was like, well, I wasn't going to talk about this, but like the reason I want to get paid is because of that time in a Marriott at GDC
like
that you
2017
physically assaulted me. And
like a crazy person.
I haven't ever said anything. Randy Pitchford seems like a fucking. He's like the Charlie Sheen of video game developers. Or
he's a crazy person. He's a dude, bro, that has his own company and just went from there. And it's like, what the fuck are you doing, Randy?
Yeah,
he did like that card trick thing that he just spent forever doing.
Yeah,
I don't fucking know what he's doing anymore.
Well, and then last week he came out and said no microtransactions in Borderlands 3, and it turns out it has cosmetic microtransactions.
Yeah,
so
it has a bunch of them.
Game Informer said that, and then he's all over Twitter like, you journalists always trying to make me feel shitty, and I didn't. You know what I was saying, and it's like you said no microtransactions.
Like you said, it's never going to happen ever.
They're
and
microtransactions.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
Like, he's such a victim. He's such a just like. You guys are always messing with me. It's like, because you suck. That's why we're messing with
He's
you.
a child. Like, he doesn't understand how, like, it just doesn't make any sense.
Like, you know how fucking Bobby Kotick, there was like this really brief story that like Bobby Kotick has a hard time dating because whenever he like matches with somebody on a service and they look up who Bobby Kotick is, all they find are like pictures of him with devil horns and like articles about how he's the worst person in the entire world, and like he can't get a date because of this. Yeah, but that was like one story like 8 months ago, and fucking Randy Pitchford, I feel like I could make a video that Randy Pitchford would clap back at, and it's just like, go run your company, guy.
Make games.
Yeah.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah. I mean, I know that all you can make these days is Borderlands, so just go make that Borderlands
all you
game.
do is re-release Borderlands 2. I really don't remember the last thing you actually made.
Put Duke Nukem in it. Battleborn, obviously.
And they didn't put Duke Nukem in it, so we saw how that turned out.
They didn't put Duke Nukem in it. That's true. All right, so that's the funny, crappy part. We got some actual crappy parts. So Riot Games, the makers of League of Legends, had a big walkout last week with the employees. Where the employees all walked out in protest because Riot Games apparently is one of these companies that does forced arbitration for any dispute inside of the company. I don't know if you've ever run into this before. I'm going to run it down for people. Basically, lots of companies like to do this where they make you sign a thing that says, like, if you have a grievance, if you have a legal grievance with the company, you will not take it to court. You will take it to binding arbitration, where basically the company hires an arbiter. You come in and present your case. The company comes in and present their case. The arbiter comes to a decision about what's going on. Every time I say that, all I can think of is the Master Chief.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Arbiter. And it's binding arbitration is that ruling is final, and you agree that you can't then like take that case to court. So a lot of companies do this. Like, this isn't just Riot Games. But
yeah, there's some companies even now that sort of like have something similar to that.
Plenty of companies. They love it because they don't have to go to court. They don't have to hire lawyers.
Also, Carl Weathers. I just remembered his
Carl
name.
Weathers.
Sorry. I remembered it in the middle of your spiel, and I didn't want to say
it. You
it.
picked it at the wrong time. Anyway, so the problem apparently is that Riot Games has a real like bro-y culture with a lot of like, you know what, I'd fuck Gary's wife, if you know what I'm talking about.
Apparently that's
like,
happening all over the fucking place gaming wise, and it's ridiculous.
Sending like, emailing your dick to people and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the thing is that Riot Games a few months back had a thing where they instituted the forced arbitration. The people that worked there were like, this is fucked up. They made a stink about it. There was some press coverage of it, and Riot Games decided to change it so that any new employees do not have to sign the arbitration clause in their contract. However, previous employees are still bound by that same thing. Now, they said right before the walkout happened that they were basically they're going to go back and like retrofit this stuff. But the people that work there are like, we know this company, and this is just like there's light on them right now, and as soon as everybody forgets about it, they're just going to go right back to doing this horse shit.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on the news, I guess. I mean, I think forced arbitration is horse shit, and I think that everybody deserves the right to, let's fucking jury of your peers.
Yeah.
It's one of the constitutional things that I don't think the government, that the corporation just be able to like, well, if you want to work here, you just got to make sure that, if you ever have a legal problem, you have to let us deal with it internally and abide by our decision. It's just like, what? What if you stab me?
It's pretty ridiculous. It's frustrating for everybody involved, or at least everyone that's not the company involved. And it's just, I don't know. It's shitty.
Yep. Speaking of shitty companies, apparently the Game Workers Union in France is putting pressure on Quantic Dream because there's an article that came out a while back that was about kind of bad working conditions, sexual harassment, just kind of people being shitty at Quantic Dream, and David Cage is kind of the French Randy Pitchford, right? Where his response to that was like, well, I know Ellen Page. And it was
yeah.
like,
I forgot about that.
That doesn't mean anything, David.
I've seen Juno. She'll protect me.
Right.
It's like, what? So,
Game Workers, the Game Developer Union Initiative, Game Workers Unite with French Union Solidaires Informatique, called for basically testimony for previous employees to kind of be put on the record to hold them to task. They have this real interesting quote where they say, these offenses are extremely serious and are punishable by law. However, they seem to be repeated with impunity for several years because of a strong omerta. This must stop. Omerta, of course, being it's like the code of silence, usually associated with the mob.
Oh, okay.
Like
that's interesting.
You didn't see shit. You don't say shit. Like snitches get stitches. Basically, is that? So.
Apparently, that is a really much like a big fucking common thing in this gaming stuff. It's just very frustrating.
I think that what it comes down to is that they're just incredibly high stress environments run by a very small group of people that have, I don't know, like just they get all whacked out. I often wonder what it's like to get all whacked out on power. I don't have any power. I've got like 3 people that listen to what I say. So
I always think of the Simpsons movie. It's like, you're mad with power. Of course I'm mad with power. Have you ever been mad without power? It's boring. Nobody listens to you.
Well, speaking of being mad, people are mad at Anthem because Anthem had some kind of chests that they used to have in the game. What are they called? Elysian caches that they took out of the game. So, guys, listen.
They took out content out of a game that barely has any content.
They took loot boxes out of a game that people have been complaining they can't get any worthwhile loot in. Yeah. Apparently the quote was that they were always supposed to be removed from the game eventually, and that they're just doing it. Okay, this thing is a fucking mess, right?
That's like, okay, when you tell your people we're not going to have all the extra content,
yeah,
and then remove content right after that,
yeah,
it's the dumbest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yep. Because I mean, they just had that thing where they put out the new raid, but it was like late, and it's kind of a live stream where the developers.
I'm face palming, by the way. You guys can't see this, but I'm face palming. Yeah,
and not just that, but there's also EA put out a statement this week. That's our other story about Anthem, where like they had to say, no, we are not abandoning Anthem but they are kind of abandoning Anthem. Okay. I've read between the lines, and here's what appears to have happened. Anthem is out, and BioWare Austin now has full responsibility for making it into like a fun thing. Everybody else is fucked off to do Dragon Age 4. Like everybody else at BioWare is fucked off to do Dragon Age 4. It's not an all hands on deck. Let's get this done. Like last week or the week before, the roadmap got pushed back. The content got pushed back. Apparently, their server numbers are just dropping like flies.
Yeah.
And that like you can't find a match because everybody only plays one match because it's the only place that you have a good chance to getting any loot.
Yeah.
So everybody just plays the exact same match type on the exact same difficulty. And it's like, and listen, I enjoyed my time playing Anthem like a single player game, but like this is fucked up. I would have liked at some point to have read a story where it was like, hey, everybody, Anthem's good now. Check it out. But really don't know.
It's the game that keeps on giving in the worst possible ways.
Yeah.
Between this and Fallout 76, I don't know which one is trying to kick me in the nuts harder.
You know what? At least Fallout 76 is what it is, and they've had like 5 content updates since they released. Like,
I guess that's true.
I don't like Fallout 76 because I think the base concept of that game is boring as fuck. But like for the people that want to play Fallout 76, apparently there's a lot of stuff for you to do in Fallout 76.
At least I feel like Fallout 76 has been trying as much as it can. Anthem, I just feel like they just, oh my god, I don't even know what to say.
I think that, yeah,
the little Iron Man simulator that couldn't.
I had a real fun time playing it. I like the flying and the shooting and stuff like that. Got a little repetitive. I mean, but I only played it for like 8 hours. I played the single player campaign, and then I was just
okay.
I'm donezo. I'm not going to do your raids over and over again. What am I, EverQuest? I'm not playing that.
Also, like, what would be the reason at this point? It's just,
what do you mean?
To like even do the raids. There's the other content is still doesn't even.
Well, to get better loot so that you can do more raids, so you can get better loot, so you can do more raids, so you can get better loot.
Oh god!
Like that's what people. I mean, that's what like I talked to Jason about the Division 2. That's literally all he was doing in the Division 2 was just killing these guys so I can get better loot, so I can kill more guys, so I can get more loot, so I can get more guys.
Like I sounded like I was upset by that, but I'm not, because it just made me realize that's all I do in Monster Hunter.
Yeah,
I kill monsters to make better monster weapons to kill better monsters. To do back and forth.
Yep.
Repeat, rinse, and repeat.
And so, you
just need friends, really, is what those games really are trying to say.
I don't need anybody. There is one small, like, nice story this week about EA, even though it's obviously this doesn't happen for nice reasons. Apparently, the PlayStation 4 is getting the EA Access service, which used to be on the Xbox One and the PC only. This is the service, in case you guys don't remember, that is either $30 a year or $5 a month, and it's the one that gives you like 10-day early access to, like Anthem, or like 10 hours or whatever. You can play like Mass Effect Andromeda like 10 hours, and then they have free games kind of like PlayStation Plus or Xbox Gold that come out every month that you can download, like EA Classics. Go play Theme Hospital. Wow. But it used to be that Sony didn't want it on their console, and I think that Sony's a company like everybody else. They just want money, so it's going to be coming to the PlayStation 4, which I mean it's fine with. It's good for me because it means I can finally get early access to this stuff. And actually record it on a
full pre-order kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, let's talk a little E3. I think we're already too late. Yeah, we're so over time. We're gonna go fast through the rest of this. You know what? In fact, I'm just gonna start skipping stuff. Nintendo put out their E3 plans. They're doing, and it's just a roadmap of when they're going to have their conference and then Treehouse afterwards. So that happened. Kind of Funny Games is doing another showcase this year at E3. So because Sony is out and EA is kind of off in a parking lot somewhere, it's really wide open for anybody to do anything. So this is going to be focusing on much smaller indie games, which I kind of thought was the whole point of the PC game showcase, but
well, they have to fill time somehow.
Yeah.
And Greg Miller is willing to do anything.
Let's slow down for a second because the weirdest goddamn thing in the world happened this week. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name yet, but Mike Bithell, the guy that made Thomas Was Alone, Volume, and Subsurface Circular, is making a John Wick game called John Wick Hex that's like a turn-based action tactics game.
It's strange. I don't really know what to think of this in any shape or form.
I think it looks kind of cool. You know what? Okay, so here's what I want. It's because in the trailer, I'm not the biggest fan of the kind of simplified way that the character models look.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what I want is, so they show in the trailer standing behind, John Wick standing behind a box, and then a whole menu here, and it says strike, push, takedown, parry, shoot, throw gun at somebody. And it seems like you're going to do that, and then it's going to be because there's also this big ass menu up at the top that says move, surprise, move. It's got a definite kind of tactical setup to it. What I really want more than anything is for you to be able to kind of go through this whole thing where you're shooting these guys, right? And it's a tactical game, and then at the end, be able to hit a button and watch the whole thing happen like it's a movie, right?
That would be pretty cool.
Little dynamic camera angles and stuff, and then just basically make your own John Wick action scene and then watch it.
I'd be cool with that.
It's so strange, though. Mike Bithel's the last person in the entire universe I ever would have thought was going to be making a John Wick game.
Absolutely.
He's a fucking. You know what his last game was? It was called Subsurface. It was a Subsurface Circular was the first one. There's another one called Subsurface Quantum or something like that. And it's like you're on a ship. Okay, there's a plague. There's this alien, and he has to stand in this circle, and you can talk to him. And like, did he says he's here with a solution to your plague problem. Do you believe him? Like, there's scientists. You got to talk to them about like his. It's basically just like this huge visual novel, and this guy makes art games. I mean, you know, like it's so weird. It's so weird. This is the weirdest thing of all time.
It's exciting though.
Yeah,
it's weird but exciting.
Rage 2 is a launch trailer. It's funny. Go watch it because we have another one.
Oh yeah, I heard of it. I saw this one.
Okay, so
holy fuck,
Bethesda. Don't you think you got away from me, Bethesda? I know everybody else is getting their shit on this week. You're gonna get some too. So Bethesda made this pen and paper game that's supposed to be leading into their new Elder Scrolls Online expansion.
Yeah. It's bad.
And they just copied it almost word for word from a D&D adventure like module. Like
it's fucking ridiculous.
Like it's not even like one or two. This is like that
it's
guy
blatant.
who ripped off that other guy's Dead Cells article.
Oh yeah.
Like he changed like 4 words and that's it. Like when you look at this stuff, it's like the exact same things.
The sentence is like slightly different.
Yeah.
It's like instead of sun bleached, it was like sun drenched.
Right.
Tint is like, come on, guys, really?
Yeah.
They didn't even try.
They really didn't. They really, really didn't. So they've taken it down in there, quote unquote, investigating. But like, I wanted to take this opportunity because we had that Rage trailer, and my original plan, if I had any time when I got to this part, was to be like, Bethesda, what's going on with you, guy? Like, do we need to get Todd Howard out of there? Todd Howard? Todd Howard? Tom Howard? Ron Howard? Do we need to get Todd Howard out of there? Is he the one that's doing all this? We got, Fallout 76 has been a debacle from beginning to end. Fallout 4 kind of sucked. Elder Scrolls Blades, as I understand, is just an utter goddamn nightmare. You're ripping off D&D modules. Like, everything Bethesda touches these days kind of turns to crap. Yeah. What happened to you? Like, you used to be good.
This is like that meme that you see when people are like, hey, can I copy your homework? Yeah, I'll just change a little bit so I don't get in trouble. That's what this is.
Yeah.
That's literally what this is.
Yeah.
Except they got in trouble because it's clearly plagiarism.
I mean, I don't even know in these days, in this
even
day and age.
The items were the same. It was really bad.
How do you even do this? How do you think that you're not? I mean, like, do these people not look at Twitter? Twitter's going to figure it out, bitch. Like, in fact, one of the people that figured it out was the guy that originally wrote the module.
Yeah.
When people brought it to his attention.
They're like, hey, did you help with this? It's like, fuck no.
And he tweeted, it's a surreal day when a top-tier gaming company steals your shit. I assure you. Hashtag D&D, hashtag D&D at Bethesda. Like, oh my God, Bethesda, what is going on?
Because it was like 2 writers and the other writer was like, yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, what is going on, Bethesda? I need you to tell me because, man, can we go back to like, Skyrim days, but like you make a new game that's not Skyrim. You don't just release Skyrim for fucking 600th time. Like, put up your card game, put up your MMO, and just make some
like announced Skyrim's going to be a manga. I'm like, you guys are porting Skyrim to manga now. What is happening?
I forgot about that. Yes, what is happening?
What is happening?
Is it ZeniMax? Are they the ones that's doing this to you?
It's so fucking. Oh my God.
All right, we're gonna zip through the last of these. I got a retraction to make from last week. Apparently, so Psyonix got bought by Epic, the Epic Game Store.
Uh-huh.
They're the makers of Rocket League, and last week I said. Rocket League's going to be still on Steam. They're just doing something different. That's not entirely true. There's a quote from them that they say the PC version of Rocket League will come to Epic Games Store in late 2019. In the meantime, it will continue to be available for purchase on Steam. Thereafter, it will continue to be supported on Steam for all existing publishers. There's some kind of watchwords in there that make it seem like once it comes out on the Epic Games Store, if you have it on Steam, you'll still get updates, but that it won't be for sale on Steam after that.
A bold move, Cotton.
Yeah. Apparently Epic's got the cash to just be fucking making it rain all over the video game industry.
And Epic keeps staring Steam down and being like, just change the thing and we'll stop.
Yeah.
Just fucking change it. Stop breaking your legs.
They're
It'll
like
be fine.
Fucking Joker of
It's pretty ridiculous.
of game platforms.
They don't actually have a plan, as far as I could tell. They're just doing things to fuck with Steve.
Because didn't they just do a thing in Fortnite where one of the cities burned to the ground in lava? It's like the floor is lava. The floor is literally lava in Fortnite now.
Shit's crazy.
Yeah. All right. We're going to be seeing a new Call of Duty before the end of June. There was an earnings report. They basically said they're going to be announcing whatever this year's Call of Duty is before June. I know.
Shocked.
I know. OG Devil May Cry is going to be getting put out on the Switch.
I'm okay with this.
Yes. Apparently, it's going to be digital only. There's not going to be a physical copy, but it seems a little weird that they don't just put out the whole HD trilogy that they already have. But
is it just part 1 that's coming out?
It's just part 1.
That is a little strange, then.
Yeah. Apex Legends is going on to phones. I doubt anybody is surprised. Nobody is
If it works,
surprised.
it works. I don't know.
And then last, we had a couple of kind of cool stories. One was that Microsoft has this crazy-ass patent that they put out where for visually impaired gamers, it's like an Xbox controller that has a pad on the back of it that literally can pop up Braille symbols for people to be able to feel that on the back of the controller and read them. And the idea here is, you might be thinking to yourself, the first thing that I was thinking of, how's a blind person going to be? Is it just going to be there's a guy on your left, there's another guy on your left, you missed with that shot? How are you going to play a game with that? But apparently it's made for people that have some visual impairment that can't read the text on the screen or have difficulty reading text over a distance, things like that.
Still, though.
It would be weird if they were putting it on every Xbox controller, but I really appreciate Microsoft's commitment to just making some accessibility options.
Well, plus the controllers could probably be used for something else, because the Xbox controllers are really they're well known for being able to be attached to damn near everything.
Right. There's also pads, the paddles, on the one Xbox One Pro controller on the back of it as well. For the idea there is that hopefully, you'll be able to kind of be using the back of the controller a lot more than the face, right? Is that you can get access to buttons that are on the back of it. And last but not least, were you hoping that Bruce Campbell as Ash from the Evil Dead was going to be in Mortal Kombat? Well, probably not, says Bruce Campbell in a literal Twitter post where he says, "Consider this my finishing move against a certain internet rumor," and it's just a weird picture of him, and it just says Bruce Campbell wins. And then it's a Mortal Kombat background with an empty health bar that says internet rumor. It just says fatality, flawless victory. And there's a blood splatter that says internet rumor about Ash being in DLC in Mortal Kombat 11.
That is so... Oh, my God.
You know what? I'm going to let that tweet speak for itself.
Bruce, just put down your phone.
I got nothing else to say. No, man.
Stop fucking with the internet right now.
All right, never mind. I got another thing to say. Here's the thing, is that one of two things happened, all right? And they're both equally kind of interesting. The less interesting thing is that Bruce Campbell was sick of hearing about this shit in his Twitter mentions and asked his assistant, "Hey, I need you to go Photoshop me into Mortal Kombat with this." He had to lay all this shit out, right? The better idea, though, is that Bruce Campbell did this himself in Photoshop, and that is where I would like to do. That's where my mind wants to just rest.
No, I'm pretty sure that that's my thought process actually. Is I feel like Bruce Campbell made this.
He just did it himself,
and he used oh my God.
So Bruce Campbell was
it's hard to look at.
It was at home, and he was looking at his phone. He's like, "These fucking nerds. All right, here we go, firing up Photoshop. Gotta get some Mortal Kombat 2. Everybody knows the forest for Mortal Kombat 2 is the place that I would be doing this. Yeah, I think it's amazing. Go look at it. You can go look at it while we take a quick break. But we'll be right back, and we're going to answer some questions, so don't take too long. And we're back. Michael, are you ready to answer some questions?
Indeedo.
We have a lot of questions. You ready?
Yes.
You ready?
I'm ready to take on the Riddler.
Okay, excellent. The Riddler writes in and says, "Dear Rage Select, riddle me this." No, mail@rageselect.com is the email address, and our first one comes in from Brent. Brent says, "Hey Ragers, Brent here. In honor of Avengers Endgame, I have a question about finales. Most people believe endings are hard due to their finality. And then being constantly compared to the sky-high expectations of fans. But that is something I just can't agree with. I generally believe as long as the finale answers two core questions. are all the plot points closed? And 2, do the characters get what they deserved? Then fans will look over any clumsiness that may be in the story's execution. To me, these questions were answered in Endgame and made me not care about the plot holes people felt the story had. So, do you agree with my criteria for a good ending? And what do you personally look for in a finale? Thanks for being awesome. Sincerely, Brent.
I like the 2 that he brought up. All plot points closed, and did everyone get what they deserved?
Yeah.
I like that. I like it's a decent way of starting one.
Mm-hmm.
Others, like the good finales to me, just they don't have to close all the plot points, but they have to close the ones that are the most important.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Like there's some things where like, well, that question was never answered. It's like, well, but did you really need the answer to that specific question? Kind of thing. Especially if they're like really minimal ones.
Yeah.
Kind of thing of like, how did this person get from this place to the other place? It's like, I don't give a fuck about that.
Yeah, okay, so listen, I've been thinking about that a lot because there's been a lot of people that have been bothered by certain things like that in Endgame and in a lot of other places as well. And I was thinking about it last week, and what I really just came down to is this: is like, if I can logically come up with a good reason how this might have happened, then it's fine. Like I don't need you to I don't need you to show me every single frame. And in a lot of ways, this stuff it doesn't bother me as long as it doesn't break the continuity. Now, I know a lot of people I feel like are looking for like a very just logically tight movie. And for me, it doesn't have to be logically tight.
No,
like,
it doesn't.
But for me, I think it's more about stakes than anything else for me when it comes to finales. So you have to have something that kind of gets... I don't know. When it comes to like action and adventure and stuff like that, it needs to be something that kind of like has to be more than the previous things. And like I thought
absolutely.
that Endgame definitely did that. I don't know. Like probably my favorite finale, one of my favorite finales of all time was the TNG finale, right?
Yeah,
and like that.
That's a great finale.
Yeah, it's a whole thing, and then it all comes down to, but like the stakes are big, but it's a very personal story because it's really all about Jean-Luc Picard, and then there's the whole thing with Q at the very end where he's like, you get to see for just a second what it was like to be an omniscient being throughout time, and I like that quite a bit. I don't know. It's hard to pin down a list. I feel like because every time I try to think of a list of like qualifiers, I can think of something that doesn't meet all those qualifiers that was still...
It really depends on what it is, though. Because some of my favorite finales, they don't really answer anything. Sometimes they're just like fun endings to things. Mm-hmm. Sometimes like Harvey Birdman is a good example of I think it's a great finale, but it's just like random nonsense. Mm-hmm. Where like it ends with okay, if anyone's never seen the ending to Harvey Birdman, I'm just gonna outright say it. It ends with Harvey Birdman getting run over by a fucking bus.
Yeah,
that fucking Phil Ken-7 was driving.
Right,
and I think it's a great ending because it's just so fucking funny, like the way everything plays out. And the way Phil realizes that he killed Birdman is like, that's not blood, that's brake fluid. Oh, that's Birdman's blood. Like it gets me every fucking time when he says that part. And like, but it's like a fun little finale, and yeah, a lot of weird shit culminates to this like big climactic battle that's like never happened in the entirety of that show.
Like the infamous like the end of Sopranos, right?
Yeah, Sopranos is
like I don't feel that like are all plot points closed? No. Do the characters get what they deserve? No.
Maybe, I don't know.
Who knows? Like it's such a question mark. But see, I kind of like that. Like I kind of like that. Like even in one of the ones movies like the end of Inception, right, where you left wondering like what actually happened there, like was this a dream or not, and so the thing this maybe goes to a larger point that I have with like listing criteria or like trying to make like a definitive logical list. And I don't want to seem like I'm coming at Brent because like I think about this a lot when there are a lot of people out there who are just like, well, if a game is less than 20 hours, it can't be good. And I don't agree with that.
No,
I think if
absolutely.
a game is great and 3 hours long, it's still great,
Yeah, plus like old games weren't that fucking long back in the day.
Right.
Super Mario Brothers wasn't 20 hours long. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. I mean, and so there's a lot of things where people have this like kind of very concrete idea of like this equals good, and if not X, then bad. And the problem that I keep coming back to is that I keep thinking of examples of things that don't meet those same criteria, but I still like them.
Like I think one of my favorite finales of recent memory is the Gravity Falls finale.
Okay.
Because it is the culmination of everything that came before, and the stakes are the highest they've been of the entire show.
Yeah.
And everything plays out in a way where like you don't get every question answered, and every character doesn't feel like they get the exact ending that some people wanted.
Right.
But it's the main people who you were following get the ending that get an ending, whether or not it's what you wanted. They get everything. Like it's a fantastic ending, and there's some but it's only like a 2-season show. Like they were able like the guy was able to do what he wanted, and that's the hard thing about finales is like, are you going to get the finale you wanted because they were allowed to get to that point,
right?
Or did that finale just kind of have to happen? Like Eureka is a good example of that.
Or did it get dragged further, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I feel like
Supernatural is a good example.
Everybody talks about Supernatural, where
season
it seems
5
like,
is the end of the original fucking plot line,
right?
And we're on season 13 now. It's like fuck me. Like that show's been on like half my life basically. So it's like, whereas there's stuff like that. Like there's a finale, but it just kept going, and the original plot's gone, or it's got cut off before it was supposed to. Like Futurama is another good example of that.
Yeah,
Futurama has
like 5 endings,
3 or 4 endings.
Well,
like
there's the original ending with the Devil's Hands of the Idle Playthings, and then I feel like the movies had an ending at the end of them. Into the what was the
the end of the 3rd movie?
Yeah, where they go through the wormhole or whatever, and it does the title again, right?
Yeah.
And then like, yeah, I mean, I feel like that show
another ending when it got canceled again.
Yep. And then they have the ending that they currently have with the time wall. That show ends so many fucking times.
Yeah, but every single one ends in almost the same way, though.
Yeah.
Is it always ends with the fact that Leela and Fry are probably going to be together by the end of it. And not everything gets answered, essentially, but you get kind of what you want.
Yeah.
Other shows have, like, lasted too long. Like, How I Met Your Mother is a good example of a show that lasted too long because it kept adding like newer things to it. But the thing is, they knew how it was going to end from the get go to the point where they recorded the ending with the kids the entire time, which is why they didn't age or anything throughout that whole show.
Right.
Because they actually asked the actors, like, do you remember filming that ending? Like, we actually forgot entirely because the show has been on that long.
Yeah.
And so the ending would have made more sense if it happened like earlier on in the show.
Yeah.
But since it got like 8 seasons and added more character growth that makes the ending make less sense, it was fuck you.
The thing is that I like that show.
I like that show too, but that ending is like...
Well, I like the first 4 seasons of that show, but then it starts to like when as soon as Barney and Robin get together.
That's exactly what I mean.
Like, what are we doing over here? Like
That's exactly what I mean though, because if it would have ended like prior to that point, or like at least after the first time they date, because the first time they date, they outright just go, they're not, they shouldn't be together kind of thing is the end of that plot line. And then it's like, well, but here's all these reasons they should be together. And it spends like an entire season telling you that. And then the final episode is like, oh, they got divorced in like a year. It doesn't fucking matter. I was like, what was the point of all that shit then?
The poor fucking mom, though, who just like, then she died of cancer.
Yeah, then she mega died. And I want to fuck your Aunt Robin, by the way. Oh, by the way, I wasn't Bob Saget this whole time. I'm just old Ted Mosby. It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you get endings like Seinfeld that are just like, what the fuck was that?
Just wackadoo out into,
like just you go in the jail. It's like, what the fuck just happened? And then,
I mean, I don't know. Like, again, I don't feel like there's again, what it comes down to is this concept that I have now been espousing for probably about 6 months now is that I don't, like, criteria to me don't matter. What matters is it good? Like,
do you like where you got?
Right.
Like, I like full circle endings as well.
Yeah.
Like Eureka. Like, I'm going to mention Eureka again because I really like Eureka. The beginning of the show is that like he drives past like himself and his daughter.
Yeah.
And the end of the show is that they're driving away and they pass them entering it. The same way at the beginning, and they're like, "Is that?" They're like, "Don't worry, we'll worry about it later." Like, it's like we've dealt with so much shit. I don't want to deal with this. You're going to college, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it's to me, it's just, is it satisfying or is it not? And trying to nail that down is a problem because you'll so many times just come up against something that doesn't fit the criteria but works anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Speaking of endings and such, let's see. You did not sign your email. I'm gonna call you Seacrest. Seacrest writes in and says, "Hey, Jeff and Michael, not sure if you had any questions on this, and this isn't really a question, more of a talking point. What I wanted to speak about is the difference in spoiler rules for different media. I 100% can feel Jeff's annoyance regarding spoilers for movies and games. However, I feel need to disagree about the TV spoilers to an extent, especially when it comes to a show like Game of Thrones. It feels as if people aren't spoiling, but talking amongst each other whilst watching live. With a show like Game of Thrones, it seems that it has become such a big show that most, if not all, of the devoted viewers are watching the show live. At this point, it feels like complaining about hearing what happens in an episode is like complaining about someone telling you the score to a live sporting event. I can understand the frustration, but after so many years of a show, it's reasonable that many would be excited and want to talk about what is happening live as it happens. Would love to know your thoughts on this, and rage on from Seacrest. Not his real name.
No, I assume it's not.
Seacrest. So, okay, listen. Yes. Okay.
It's a tough question to answer, to be honest.
I don't think it's a tough question at all. The scenario that he lays out about like knowing a sporting, like, have you ever known a sport person? Like, people used to like tape the football game because they couldn't be home, and then they'd be like, "Don't tell me the score. I haven't watched the game yet. I got to get home. I taped it. I had to work late
That's
tonight."
That's a whole episode of How I Met Your Mother, by the way.
Right. I want to go home and I want to watch the game. The fucking, or like, there's so many things. What, in 30 Rock, there's the whole thing about Jack spoiling what happens on The Bachelor to Liz, and she's like, "You monster!"
Yeah, there's an episode of Scrubs that the same thing happens. Like Dr. Cox is trying to watch the basketball game. The whole time.
Here's what it comes down to for me. Here's the problem with spoilers. I'm going to lay out two options, two things here. These are the things, right? 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, 1. When you have spoiled a thing for a person, you cannot unspoil a thing for a person. We do not live in the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind universe where somebody can get their thing spoiled. 2, like, can get their mind erased. That's what I'm trying to say. God damn, I'm fucking tired. 2,
his mind's been erased.
There was something. Hold on. Here comes my brain. Here I go. Here it's coming. 2, like, the enjoyment that you had when you watched the thing and didn't know what was going to have, by spoiling it for somebody else, you're taking that, not everybody, but for people that want to be surprised by a thing, you're taking that away from them. And you're taking it away from them, to me, for the worst reason, is that, like, well, I have to talk about it. I'm going to broadcast this to Twitter, motherfuckers. And people are just like, well, why don't you just stay off of social media? And I'm just like, well, why don't I just unfriend all of you motherfuckers? Why don't I unfriend anybody who's so callous that 5 minutes after the thing is over? Because here's the thing. Game of Thrones is not like a football game. There are football games every week, forever.
Yeah.
Football never stops. And football, it's not like once.
Also, somebody doesn't like randomly get stabbed in the middle of football.
Right.
In a shocking twist or some kind.
Right.
Like OJ didn't immediately murder somebody on the football field kind of thing.
You are correct. If your favorite quarterback was in danger of getting stabbed or poisoned or burned to death by a dragon every week, you'd probably want to, like, if you weren't able to sit down and watch it live, you would probably want somebody to not be like, "Oh my God, can you believe that football man got hit by a spear this week on, Monday Night Football?" And you just be like, "Oh, I would have loved to have seen that."
That would have been amazing to see when it happened.
And like react. I mean, we have whole YouTube channels that are devoted to like watching a trailer for the first time and just going, "Oh my God, because people like that excitement so much. And so the idea
I
to
watched
me,
10 minutes of old people watching the fatalities from Mortal Kombat 11. Reaction videos are amazing.
yeah, and the thing is that, I mean, like, for me, right? Like, I am watching Game of Thrones. I would like to watch Game of Thrones, but like, life is busy, y'all. Like, there's shit going on all the fucking time in everybody's life. And I don't maybe have time to sit down the minute that Game of Thrones is on HBO Go and watch it. Like, I might be working on an intro, or I might be like doing something.
It's a pain in the ass. Like, I went out of my way to watch Barry. Okay, it's like on Sunday when I left here, I went and watched Avengers again,
right,
on D-Box.
You said you were going to.
And I got home and it was like midnight, but I didn't want to get spoiled on Barry in any way. So I watched Barry and it was like 1 a.m. by the time I went to sleep, and I had work the next day,
right?
Because I was so worried I was going to get spoiled by like this TV on this TV show, because that show's also one of those things where it's like super surprising shit will happen all the time in it, and I'd rather discover it instead of somebody tell me about it. And it's what makes it tough with TV, because you definitely want to talk to somebody about it.
Yeah.
Like, I want to talk to Barry about Barry right now, to be honest. That show's fucking amazing.
Never seen.
And
I
I want to talk about some like the crazy shit that happens, but I can't because I don't want to spoil it for anybody.
Right.
And I would like everyone to watch that show.
And I mean, here's the thing: is that like I don't mind talking about the Red Wedding on Game of Thrones because that was like 3 years ago, and everybody knows what happened. And like the thing is that I am not even saying that I don't want you to talk about Game of Thrones at all, because I feel like there's a time, there's a statute of limitations, right? Like
also there are places you could go to and actually discuss these things.
Right. Well, but like I'm not saying, but what I'm saying is that like give it like a day.
Yeah.
Like let everybody get caught up. Like if I didn't watch it at 8 p.m. Central, but I watched it at like 1 a.m. when I had an hour free to do a thing, like that's all I care about. But for right now, it doesn't really matter because like the spoiler people have won in a lot of ways. Because the people that don't care about spoilers basically just they feel no shame whatsoever and just like blasting that shit out there. And yeah, I mean, we were just talking about it, right? We are in the last 5 episodes, or there's like 2 left, right, of Game of Thrones. Like this is not mid-season 3, the talkie episode, where the thing that happened was that Tyrion and Brienne made out, and that was weird because of the height difference, right? Like this is the last few episodes of Game of Thrones that people have been waiting almost as long as like the Marvel movies have been rolling to see. And so maybe giving people the opportunity to do that without accidentally stubbing their toe on some kind of fucking spoiler. Or you know what?
The hard part of the memes as well.
So
many memes.
Yep. There's even a meme from, I'm not going to say what it is, but there is a meme that has come up from last week's Game of Thrones. There's like 2, I think, that are pretty big. One of them involves a coffee cup that you'll never see if you haven't watched it.
Oh, it's gone now.
It's gone now. The other one, though, is the one that I feel like has been more of a thing. But that one is barely even a spoiler, right? There's also the other thing is that all information is not created equal, and the difference between the episode where the Battle of Winterfell, whatever, like there are some major things that happen there that aren't the same as like. I'm not saying don't say there wasn't a coffee cup in the last episode of Game of Thrones. Like,
just don't tell me who died, kind of thing.
Just please keep the big stuff to yourself.
Although I don't watch it, so I don't care.
Or if you have to talk about it, you can always like text your friends, you DM your friends, you Facebook message your friends, you tag your friends on Instagram.
Watch it with people.
You could, Or you know what? Here's the thing. At the very least. I'm not even going to say, at the very least, I wish that people would just put the word spoiler anytime they were going to write something that could be a potential spoiler, because then I could have Twitter filter every instance of the word spoiler out of my timeline so that it isn't there. So that's all I'm saying. I just don't think it's the same as a sports game because it's a narrative, and sports is a thing that happens every week. And I understand that people want to talk about it, and people do talk about it. And it used to be that before the internet, the next day at work, you're hanging around the water cooler. Oh, man, you catch Game of Thrones last night? Can you believe when Bran and Tyrion made out? It was fucking weird, bro. It's like, oh, yeah, I didn't see that one coming a mile away. Yeah, especially when Varys joined in. He doesn't even have genitals. I don't know what he was even thinking about doing.
Be like the people who read the books before the show started. They kept their Red Wedding secret to themselves for a long time and only used that shit if somebody pissed them off.
Yeah. So that's what's happening. And again, I want to make clear here. 1, I'm not saying don't talk about spoilers to anybody. I'm saying don't broadcast it on the internet. 2, I'm not saying you don't have to talk about it forever. I'm saying give it like 1 day before it comes out. 3, maybe put the word spoilers in front of a thing when you think there's a potential spoiler in it so that the rest of us can avoid that shit. And 4, just like try to remember how cool it was for you to watch that episode, and then think of how not cool it would be if you knew the information that you're sharing off to somebody else.
Did I ever tell you about like the story about apparently there's a teacher that he had read all the Game of Thrones books prior to when the show started. To keep his class quiet, he would slowly start writing a spoiler on the board to get him to shut up. Apparently, another teacher did that with Avengers recently.
Oh, yeah?
And apparently it works really well.
So I read it was a thing on Imager that was just like a meme truck from somewhere that was just like, today a telemarketer called me, and when I tried to get them to hang up and they didn't want to, and then I just started saying who died in order in Endgame, and they just got mad and hung up, and I was like, damn, now that's a use of spoilers for good.
It is, yeah.
All right, Will writes in and says, "Hello, Jeff and Michael. So last weekend I was watching some of the Overwatch cinematic shorts on YouTube. Even though they're a few years old by now, and Overwatch has changed a bit during that time, they still definitely hold up. I remember the first time I watched the short Recall, the first one that they ever released, where Winston reactivates Overwatch. It was the first time I have ever had marketing-related material for a game take me from, I don't really know anything about this game, to, holy crap, I am in this 100%, give it to me now. This is a surprise to me, and I am usually quite jaded and unfazed by trailers and other things like this, especially related to gaming. So I wanted to ask you, as someone with experience in animation, what does Blizzard do to express so much emotion and make viewers connect with their characters so effectively and so quickly? Thanks, Will." Oh, I can totally answer this. I didn't read this one ahead of time.
No, it's okay. Like the thing about, I think for me, the thing about it is that it's a mixture of, there's a lot of movements, the voice work connected with it, and a lot of the facial expressions, like all of their movements, their facial expressions, and their voices just all work together to make you care about them so quickly compared to a lot of other trailers, I think.
I think that they do a thing that I like quite a bit, which is that they use like storytelling meme language to set up a story quickly without having to tell you. Like, you didn't need to know anything about, did Recall have Winston's backstory in it?
I had like a snippet of it,
Like
but not a lot.
Was that the one with the glasses? That was later, right? Where he
been a
takes the
long time
glasses
since
from the
I've
guy.
seen them,
Well,
yeah.
I'm gonna pull it up. In any case, like, they just establish really
I remember
quickly.
the brothers one more.
Yeah, but so I mean that one's really easy, right? Because it's like they have the little parable and the little legend, and that legend is the legend of the two. And like,
all of those videos are so cool.
You don't know what happened to Genji, right?
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea what happened really to him, but you can still get it. And then the action is always just so fun that, like, you put it all together, and it's just, to me, it's it's all about telling a story quickly instead of slowly. You use these archetypes to establish. Oh no, okay, that was the one with the glasses at the beginning. Okay. I mean, you got 8 minutes. That could be quite a bit of time, but using the archetypes in order to, I mean, we know stuff about Winston from the moment that we see him, right?
Yeah.
He's building something. He's got the glasses on. He's a big monkey. He's got the AI with him. We see that he retains some of his kind of monkey mannerisms. And he likes eating bananas and peanut butter and stuff. And, like, Reaper was the perfect first bad guy to put in here because
absolutely
he looks like Death with a shotgun, right? And, like, he's all smoky and shit.
He's got the best mariachi outfit, too.
Yeah. And then, the next one was the one with Tracer, right? And Widowmaker and Tracer.
Yes.
Which that's a perfect, Widowmaker is very austere, and she's named after Spider. And Tracer, is this bubbly action hero, and we just instantly know who's good and who's bad. Like, we don't know anything about the Omnic that the Widowmaker is trying to kill.
Yeah.
We don't really even know what Omnics. Oh, actually, we get the brief. It's like somebody's holding up a sign that's like humans and Omnics.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Then, like, there's that one lady with her armor, like an Omnic with his arm around her, and so we know there's something going on back there, but we don't need that because Widowmaker's trying to kill somebody, and Tracer's trying to stop her, and that's kind of all we need to know. So.
Yeah, there's a lot that just happens in just the one short. And, every single short just keeps building on it, and I just love it so much.
Yeah. Some of them have a little bit more to it. Like, the Sombra one had the whole, that one talked a lot more about the Omnic stuff. And then that one had, like, the weird tease at the end for Zarya that never really came out. And
that's right.
I always, Soldier 76 is my favorite character in Overwatch, and his short is, like, okay for me.
I like his short a lot, actually.
The problem that I have is, and I realize what's going on here, is that Soldier 76's offensive output does not lend itself well to a child-friendly Pixar short.
No, it does not.
Because he's got, like, rockets and machine guns, and he just uses them to shoot everybody's guns out of their hands, basically.
It's a little strange. I found one of his figures, by the way, at Walmart.
There you go.
Yeah, he's like in a 2-pack.
But yeah, I think that you can do that. I mean, I think that the obvious predecessor to Overwatch was the Team Fortress 2 shorts, right?
Oh yeah, those shorts are amazing.
And they just they tell you a story in about 4 minutes.
Spy short gets me every fucking time.
Yes,
He's sleeping with your mother.
Your mother. My favorite one is the sniper.
The sniper was amazing.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, there's plenty of shorts like that on the internet that are great, and a lot of it is just you have to really focus on what are you trying to say. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm anywhere near this stuff, right? But when I make the Rage Select intros, we're trying to it's we gotta tell a joke, we see how fast we can tell this joke, set up the things. Some of the intros that I'm not fundamentally happy with, I was talking to you about how I didn't put the Phoenix Wright second part intro in there, and I think it's because it's such an in-joke for Phoenix Wright that I don't know that people who haven't played Phoenix Wright would understand what was even happening there, because we just didn't set it up super well.
Yeah,
at least what was happening,
yeah.
So a lot of it is just characters, archetypes, visuals, all that kind of stuff. Pretty easy. I mean, the EDF intro that Matt and I did, where we're soldiers in the EDF ship, right? And it was we're just using archetypes. We got the Sarge and the Rookie. Everybody knows what that is,
exactly.
Right from the very beginning. So using that, and then it's Blizzard, but Blizzard has also been extremely good for years. The cinematics that they had for Warcraft and Starcraft, and
they make every game look way more exciting than it probably was.
Diablo. Well, they're able to tell these stories. Maybe that's why they're so good at it, is because Blizzard games tend to be these long gameplay sequences, and then every so often there's a very short cutscene to extend the story a little bit further. So they've always had to tell the story in a 3-minute cutscene, and not hours and hours of dialogue. You have to get the point across. The Pandarans, this orc and this guy are fighting each other, and then the panda shows up, and they're like, "Oh no!" And then the panda kicks their asses.
You're Jack Black.
Oh wow, okay. Anyway, we're running out of time as always, so let's do some Discord questions. Let's see here. Boop. Let's see. Professor Thor, you writes in and says, "Hey, Rage folks, I went back and watched Avengers Infinity War to prepare for Endgame, and I couldn't help but be amazed at how all the characters came together over several other films to tell one big story. That got me thinking, is there any video game you could see working with a similar adaptation? I can see it working for Street Fighter, have a movie focusing on Ryu and Ken, and then one focusing on Chun-Li, another for Guile, all leading up to the big tournament and the fight with Bison. Anyway, thanks for all you do. That's from your dear patron, and that's from Professor Thorgy." Well, I think we just made a case that Overwatch could totally be...
Overwatch could easily do that.
Oh my God. You could have 8 different Overwatch movies in different areas of the world, and then it all comes together at the end.
I'd watch that. I'd watch that right now.
I'd watch the fuck out of that.
Give the chance.
I would pay Blizzard $10 a month for their streaming service just to watch the Overwatch show that they put on their streaming service.
Why is that not a thing still?
There's no streaming service.
Damn you people.
Yeah.
Make an Overwatch show, damn you.
We're too busy
Take my money.
making concept, making video games. We got to make more seasonal events. It's don't make a new character, just make a new animation.
Just make it just
hasn't been an animation since the Diva one. Was that the last one?
That was the last one I remember.
Diva? Maybe it was before Diva.
Well, they had came out with another Diva short, didn't they? Not too long ago.
Well, yeah, the Diva one, but I think that was the last one.
As far as I remember, it was the last one.
Anyway, I don't know. There's a lot of. I mean, any video game with a good cast could totally. I mean, I could see.
I see Mortal Kombat doing that.
Of course. I mean, just about any fighting game could do that.
Just the whole. I just want that buddy cop Sub-Zero Scorpion thing to be a thing.
Fuck yes.
I'd watch, play, whatever, that entire thing.
Yep.
A Johnny Cage movie, an actual fucking Ninja Mime movie. I'd just watch that, to be honest, just to see what would happen.
The Johnny Cage movie is like that Birdman movie with Michael Keaton.
Exactly.
It's this old Johnny Cage, and was he ever really Johnny Cage? Was he ever really the Ninja Mime? And all the while, young Johnny Cage is talking to him in his head, trying to get him to do stuff.
God, I want to watch that now.
I was just thinking that Resident Evil could totally do that. They got enough characters they could make several different types of movies and then tie them all together into a big, the Nemesis movie or
There's
whatever.
a pretty good chunk of ensemble casts in in gaming that would work for that sort of thing.
Mass Effect would totally work for that.
Oh my god, absolutely.
You'd have like a whole series of different, the fucking Garrison Rex show.
I'd watch those. Oh my god, I want these things to be real so badly.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Again, I mean, boy, the concepts are just, I don't know.
I'd watch a Fatal Fury, an actual like full on Fatal Fury thing.
Mm-hmm.
Same way, like it's mostly fighting games. I think
fighting games have good casts.
Fighting games are very easily able to do something like that, or they could do something like that because they have these big ensemble casts who have their own plot lines and their own like hopes and dreams and failures and such. I mean, I'd basically watch a Dan Hibiki movie for Christ's sakes.
Basically, what you're asking is the answer to your question is any good thing that has more than 3 characters could just be made into more good things. Like I was actually going to say, you know what that wouldn't work with? Dark Souls. And then I was like, nope, Dark Souls got a whole cavalcade of characters. You got a Solaire show and an Oscar show.
Did I ever tell you my weird pitch for a Commando series?
Like the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie?
No, like the Capcom characters. I a long time ago when I was like 18, 17, I came up with the idea of a cinematic universe involving just the Commando characters. Yeah. So Commando,
Joe or whatever,
Super Joe, Bionic Commando, and Captain Commando.
Right.
And I had it all plotted out. It started with like a Super Joe storyline that also had a Bionic Commando before he lost his arm, and it would end with him losing his arm and all that shit. And then it would end with a cliffhanger of Super Joe getting captured.
Right.
And then the next movie is Bionic Commando, him saving him. And then the way I tied it together with Captain Commando is that they all come back home or whatever after defeating whatever it was, and wherever they land is where Captain Commando is, and then they have to help him out. Like, it was this whole thing I came up with. Like, I had this whole thing plotted out, and I legitimately think it would be a good idea, to be honest.
Sure.
Like, even now.
Yeah.
Like, I think a Commando series would be an interesting idea.
I don't know. Again, it's just like any...
You can also throw in Final Fight in there, too.
Any game that has more than 4 characters, right? We talked about it before. Final Fantasy VII. You can make you make a movie about Cloud, you make a movie about fucking Tifa and Yuffie, and then you make one about Red and Kite Sith, like running around doing stuff.
Well, we don't need a Kate Sith movie.
No, well, whatever.
We don't need that one.
Kate Sith and Sid and Red 13 all running around doing stuff, and then
I'd watch a Sid movie. It's just him smoking, trying to make a
prequel with Zack and Aerith, and then it all comes together in the big fight with the one-winged angel. And then there's the Turk spinoff series that you got to subscribe to Square Enix Online to watch.
It's just like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of Turk. Agents of Shinra. Oh, God.
It writes itself, people.
Yep. It's, I don't know. It's too easy with this stuff.
See, what you need to do is actually make the Smash Brothers cinematic universe. That's what you need.
Oh, Jesus.
That gag that keeps coming up, that Detective Pikachu and Sonic is the beginning of the Smash Brothers cinematic universe.
No.
It should be a thing. Just have like Donkey Kong show up at the end and be like, I want you to join the Smash Brothers initiative.
The Smash Brothers
It'd be fucking amazing.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And then they'll fight giant master hands.
Okay. I figured out one that it wouldn't work with. Doom. There's only one character. There's only one guy that you need to be making a Doom movie about. He doesn't have any lines of dialogue. I think it's enough. Let's see.
Just pour Skyrim to movies. It'll be fine.
Kate Jesse writes in and says, Dear Jeff and Michael, let's speculate wildly on Mortal Kombat 11 DLC characters. Read an article that talked about how within the MK11 files shows slots for 19 DLC characters. What?
I don't think that's happening.
NetherRealm did say that they had content for years to come, but oh my God, I really hope that this is even close to true. Also, I started watching Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I really hope Ash is in the game.
Sorry about that. Sorry, I didn't dash your hopes on that one.
Thanks so much. Ash is not in the game. I mean, we've talked before about there are different horror icons because we've had. Well, let's see. We had Freddy and Jason in 9.
Freddy, Jason,
were they
Alien
in 10?
And Predator.
Alien and Predator.
Well, Freddy is in 9.
Freddy's
Jason
in 9.
is in 10, and so is
Jason
Predator and
Leatherface.
Xenomorph. Yeah, I think Leatherface.
Michael Myers.
No, Michael Myers was in a different thing.
Oh, okay. Jason was there.
Jason was in an X.
Okay. Jason Leatherface.
It was Jason Leatherface, Predator, and Xenomorph. Those were the 4 and 10.
And then Triborg and who was the other character in
Quake?
Oh yeah,
I think was his name.
Tremor or
Tremor, yeah,
something like that.
He was a rock ninja.
Yeah, rock ninja. Rock ninja.
That's basically what he was. Yeah. He was supposed to be like the brown ninja, basically.
Let's see. You don't ever want to be the brown ninja.
No.
So let's see if we were thinking of like horror icons.
I think Michael Myers. If you already said it, since as far as I know, he hasn't been in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Candyman.
I'd be cool with that.
Candyman. I've never seen Candyman, so I don't know what he does.
I don't actually know either.
What about Pennywise? He's in the like when they put Freddy in there. It was
the two giant spider.
Well, yeah, that would be like his. Can you imagine if his like fatal blow was that? There's that scene that everybody's seen in the first It movie of him like dancing, but the camera's like on his face or whatever.
That would be interesting.
But like Freddy.
Use some of the new guys too. Yeah,
Freddy was added in 9 when it was the Jackie
remake.
Earle Haley one. So,
you use some of the new ones like the Collector. That was a pretty good guy.
I haven't seen that.
It's pretty good.
The Bye Bye Man.
The Bye Bye Man. Jesus.
Slender Man.
Actually, I wouldn't mind that. An SCP character.
Did you see? Oh my God! Did you see?
Yeah.
I want an SCP.
You were laughing so hard when that happened too.
173 in that game so bad. Go watch Monster Prom. That Kickstarter's like 4 times over its limit at this point, or whatever. Yeah,
nice.
Like they fucking nailed it, and good on it because Monster Prom. I don't give a shit about romance in general, but also in games, and I also don't give a shit about visual novels, and I love Monster Prom. Let's see.
Should put Sonic the Hedgehog from the movie. He's horrifying enough.
Movie Sonic.
Just rip his teeth out.
Who was I thinking? I was just trying to think of like ultra-violent characters. Oh, you know what? It was either
Bring in
you
the
or
girl from The Ring.
Oh, Sadako? Yeah. He-Man characters would be great.
Oh my God,
in Mortal
yes.
Kombat because they're all beefy, and then seeing He-Man just fucking fatal blow Skeletor's face and like crack the skull and everything on it. That'd be great.
I don't know how well Skeletor would work in the fatality setting. He's already a skeleton head.
I just want the super cut of all of his shit talking opening lines when he comes out and Scorpion's like, "Do you also come from the underworld?" He's like, "No, you idiot, this is my face."
I will get you, Liu Kang.
That's right. That's the way.
This is fun to do, by the way.
That's the way that I would go. Is like full on, like He-Man. Let's put some Thundercats in there. Throw a couple Silverhawks in the
Let's
mix.
just get the '80s cartoon characters all up in that bitch.
Maybe
Fucking
some
Duke.
Some of the Inhumans. They're pretty gross. You put them in there.
Get Storm Shadow and
Get the Visionaries.
Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes.
Oh,
Bring
yeah.
in make it
some ninjas.
more ninjas.
Yeah. This game needs more ninjas,
You
man.
never have enough ninjas in
There aren't enough
Mortal
ninjas
Kombat.
in that game. There aren't enough.
Actually, I'm surprised. Yeah,
So Scorpion Sub-Zero, right?
it's just Scorpion,
Lizard
Sub-Zero.
isn't
I guess
Reptile.
Frost counts somewhat.
Who?
Frost, but even then, she's a
She's
cyborg.
a cyborg now.
She's a cyborg ninja.
I don't like Frost.
There's a lot of colors though for the two of them.
Yeah, I wish. It's too many non.
I was surprised
ninjas.
Reptile wasn't in it. To be honest,
Yeah,
he probably would be a DLC character. I wouldn't be surprised.
Reptile, and then like what? Well, I guess Noob Saibot is kind of a ninja character.
Oh yeah, that's right. He is
But
a
Ermac
ninja.
is, and Ermac's turned into a wizard now. He's not like a ninja. He's
Yeah. Well, they made a bunch of people different from what they used to be.
yeah.
Like Scarlet's technically a ninja. So is Jade.
Oh yeah,
And
I guess
Kitana.
Kitana's the princess of Outworld.
Yeah, but she's the color scheme ninja the same way the others were.
I was gonna say, is it just if she has a thing, if they have a thing over their face, then they're ninjas now?
Well, they were always the same like character model, just with a different color.
Okay.
Back in the day, that's usually what the ninjas were. They were just same character model, different colors, somewhat different stance.
What about Ricky O?
Ricky,
You put him in there. You could do some fatal blows.
I'd play the shit out of that.
I love it if they did a fatal blow and then it like put like an 80s filter over it and like made the game look shittier. It made the fatal blow look like a bunch of, like a watermelon filled up with jello or whatever getting slapped.
Fuck, put Hellboy in there.
Hellboy's already in Injustice 2.
Yeah, exactly. Get some of the people from Injustice 2. Get the Ninja Turtles up in that bitch.
Are you like salty from having 2 of the slots in Injustice 2 taken up with Mortal Kombat characters? Now you're like,
not really, because I like Sub-Zero. I like the fact Sub-Zero's in Injustice 2.
I don't. Every time I have to fight him, I'm just like, what are you doing here? Go back to your world.
I think that too, but at least he's my fucking ninja and not
Yeah.
Scorpion again.
Yeah.
Although they gave him a cape for some reason. No idea why.
I'm really tired of crossover characters from video games. I don't think I want to see a video game character in there. Like people have been floating Kratos as a character.
Well, he was in 9 as well.
Was he in 9?
Yeah, he's in the
That's what I'm
PlayStation
thinking
version
of.
of 9.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what because all the latest.
I want a lot of the original characters to come back, more than anything.
I'm trying to think of the horror.
I actually would love Stryker to come back. I like Stryker a lot.
Hey man, if you got 19 slots and you want to bring people back, I mean, I don't care if it's Sector Cyrix or Smoke, but I'd like one of them that's not Triborg. I would want one ninja that has a bullshit teleports that I can do.
Go always bring Chameleon back.
Or Melina. Bring Melina back. Hashtag bring back Melina! you Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I don't know. It's a
tough one.
A lot of people, I feel like I've heard.
Bring El Mariachi in it.
Everybody wants Doom Guy.
I'd be cool with that.
There was a thing where Smash Brothers, they want a Doom Guy in Smash Brothers, and I'm like, no.
No, let's not do that.
He would probably work better in Mortal Kombat.
He absolutely would.
Because of that whole kind of ultra violence thing. I guess I'm still just trying to think of violent John Wick. Violent movies. Yeah, I don't know.
Let's bring RoboCop and the Terminator in this bitch. Although the rumor is Terminator might be a thing.
Ooh, that's a good pairing. Yeah, RoboCop and Terminator versus Aliens and Predator.
I'd play the shit out of that game as soon as that happens.
All right, Sparks writes, hey, Jeff and Mike, with today's Ghost Recon announcement that looks so much like Metal Gear Survive. With today's Ghost Recon announcement that looks so much like Metal Gear Survive to me, it got me thinking what games you would like to be made by different developers, and what would those be? Bet Jeff would love to see the original Prey 2, but what developer would you want make it? Would you make it? The example from Discord of Far Cry 5 made by Jaeger, developed with Spec Ops: The Line, doesn't count. Personally, I'd love to see Mortal Kombat made by Clay. Thanks for the awesome content and keep being awesome. And that's from Sparks. Let's see. What is it? Just anything that's out there but made by a different company?
I want Duke Nukem to be made by the guys who did Doom.
Oh.
I'd play the shit out of that.
Or Bulletstorm.
Or Bulletstorm.
So people can fly. Or I don't know if they're around quite as much anymore. Maybe hold on.
Smash Brothers made by NetherRealm. Let's do this shit.
Ew. I don't want to know what Bowser's insides look like. I never played that DS game just because I didn't want to know what his insides looked like.
They're full of enemies, apparently.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of companies that I would like to see. I mean, Metal Gear Survive made by somebody else. No.
I want Platinum to just make everything.
Everything by Platinum.
Everything possible. Platinum, a Castlevania game by Platinum.
Platinum has had some games that were not the best games of all time.
Let's get Suda51 to make a Castlevania game. Let's see what happens.
Yeah. I'd love for Suda51 to get his hands on something that he should never touch.
That would be amazing.
Like medieval or,
I
would say Suda51's Ghosts and Goblins. Right?
Oh, fuck yeah. That should be a thing. Why isn't that not? Why aren't we funding this?
I don't know. Kickstart it immediately. Most of my answers are probably just going to be things that I wish were still franchises, like having Castlevania be made by anybody.
Yeah.
You know who I want to make Castlevania? Chair. The guys that made Shadow Complex.
Oh, yeah.
I want them to make some Castlevania games.
That would be great.
I'm so fucking not tired of Metroidvania games, and nobody wants to fucking make them, and I don't understand. Are they hard or something? No, just put the door there that you can't open until you get the grenades. If the Mummy tie-in game can be a Metroidvania, then you motherfuckers can make a Metroidvania game.
I'm really glad that company's still making those games.
What I'd love to see is a Metroidvania game that had, stealth elements to it. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that would be badass.
Do some cool stuff.
I want to know. I want more fucking Captain Commando. Why is Captain Commando not fucking a thing still?
Well, Capcom is too busy just digging up every skeleton out of its past, remaking it, and then putting it out.
But
right?
not Captain Commando.
Not Captain Commando.
They re-released them, but not the way I wanted them to.
No, you want a new Captain Commando game.
I want a new fucking Captain Commando.
The futuristic one.
I want an actual Captain Commando game.
Baby Commando.
Fuck yeah.
And Hip Hop Mummy.
I want Platinum to make a Captain Commando game.
Okay.
Honestly, that's not a joke.
Right now.
I legitimately would love that to be a thing.
You heard it, Platinum. Turn off the podcast and start making them.
Because I think they would do a pretty good job of like the insanity of that, the way that world works to begin with.
You know what? There's so many games in this world that I would love to see written by like take any of the so take like Danganronpa, right?
Uh-huh.
And then give it to Monster Prom. And so like or take Zenki Zero and then let like the Monster Prom people write it. Like, not because of their sense of humor or anything, but because I want somebody to write visual novels that don't take fucking a million years to get to the fucking point. Like, you can get your point across. We were just talking about the Overwatch shorts, right? You get your point across in one fucking sentence, brah. You don't need, like, 4 hours of just explain.
I just want Tekken Crash Street Fighter now that I think about it. I just want that to fucking come out.
You know, I was just talking about how Bethesda, I don't want to see them making stuff anymore, but I would kind of be interested to see what like Skyrim as an RPG, as a JRPG looks like.
Square Enix makes Skyrim.
Square Enix makes Skyrim. Well, not Square.
Well, that's the thing. You just got to port Skyrim to everything. They're porting Skyrim the manga. I don't see why you can't port it to everything else.
That's true.
Port it to JRPG.
That's true.
Port it to Super Mario Brothers. See how this shit works.
You know what?
I played Super Mario Brothers Versus.
We're just talking about Ubisoft. At this point, I think I would love it if somebody could take Ubisoft properties away from them and let other people develop them.
Oh, Assassin's Creed games made by like some other like developers. That would be interesting.
It'd be really cool to see what an Assassin's Creed game looked like if it was made by like the guy that made Devil May Cry.
Oh my god, yes.
Like an Assassin's Creed, like an honest to God character action game.
I like this question a lot, but the problem is the answer keeps going. Let's make X thing Dynasty Warriors.
Yeah,
like that's frustrating to me. Like,
oh, that's the way that it keeps going.
Yeah,
in the
it keeps
industry?
going in the industry. They're like, oh, who we want to make the new game based on this thing? I know, the Dynasty Warrior dude.
Okay, what if the guy that made Thomas Was Alone made a John Wick game? That seems like a really weird thing that would never happen.
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen.
It'll never happen. Like the Avengers movie will never happen.
Who would make an Avengers game? Who would you trust to make an Avengers game?
Who would I trust to make? That's a tough one. The Saints Row people.
Deep Silver.
I would love for Deep Silver to make an Avengers game.
Produced by Suda51. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Shit would be amazing.
Yep. I'm believed there. Amanda writes in and says, Jeff, where do you hide the bodies? Everywhere. In your food, in your hair, in your trunk. Don't look at your trunk.
See, the secret is to not dig a hole because that's too time consuming and it tires you out very quickly. Yep. Also, we live in Texas and everything's made of fucking clay.
Also, there's a closet that's behind my green screen that nobody's ever been in. So.
Exactly. Also, like there's a perfectly good lake in the middle of Austin that you can just hide anything in.
Yep. Let's see. Slots writes in and says, what were the most elaborate and or weirdest hardware accessories and peripherals that you got for gaming purposes? PC stuff can be included.
I think it was called the X Band.
Okay.
What it was it was like a purple cartridge or something like that. That you put kind of like the way you do like Sonic and Knuckles kind of thing. But what it did is it let you play Super Nintendo games online. And my brother had this, and it was redonkulous. But he was really proud of it because he's like, I'm playing NBA Jam against the dude in Chicago. And it was like, but you had to put it in there and connect it through dial-up. So you had to wait for the dial-up to load on your Super Nintendo.
Right.
And you also had like your own login thing. It was really weird. Like it was like Xbox Live almost, but on your Super Nintendo. That's the first thing that would pop in my head.
Esoteric hardware that I've ever owned.
I didn't own this, but I've seen it. The Resident Evil 4 controller that was a chainsaw.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
that shit was
well.
ridiculous.
I mean, if we're just talking about, I mean, like if we had to own it, that's one thing. But like obviously the.
I got my hands on it because my cousin used to buy like just dumb shit all the time.
Oh yeah,
that was one of the weird dumb shit things he bought.
What was the mech game that had the big?
Oh yeah, I saw that in person at Game Over Video Games here.
Yeah.
Was it a Mech Warrior? Maybe
it wasn't Mech Warrior. It was
Mech something.
It was Mech something, and then they made that sequel for the Kinect.
That's right.
To catch the pea apple that Jason and I played over.
That sucked.
That we literally cut off and started playing Batman instead.
Yeah, I remember that.
That's been a long time.
It was really bad. I don't even remember what it was called anymore. I actually played a Virtual Boy.
Oh
Also because of my cousin.
That's a terrible
That
one.
is a terrible fucking thing. He also had a lot of those Game Boy attachments.
Mm-hmm.
Like that meme where it's like, this isn't even my final form, it's just a shit ton of Game Boy attachments. That was my cousin.
Steel Battalion.
That's right, that's what that was
That
called.
was the name of it.
That thing is massive, by the way.
Ooh, yeah. See, I don't know. I mean, I just don't think I've ever you know what? I got burned so hard on the Power Glove. I just don't think I ever tried anything else. I was just
That's fair.
yeah. You know what I've thought about is there's actually that controller that is out there right now that I've looked at a little bit. Just eyed it to one side. I don't know. As you guys know, if you listen to this, I don't really do very much. Like my Raspberry Pi is probably the most esoteric thing that's in this entire place, but it's like this ball that has these arms that come off of it, and then you can put attachments on it. And the main thing that you can do is like you can put like a gun grip on it, and then like you aim with it, and then when you shoot, it like literally has like force feedback in your hand and stuff.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
I've been kind of I looked online at like what it would take to get one of those, and it was like like $150 on eBay, and I don't need.
It's not terrible considering.
Yeah, but like, what am I going to do with it? Nothing.
I also saw that the GameCube controller that's just has a fucking keyboard in the middle of it.
Oh.
Like it's a giant fucking keyboard, and it's just like the game's controller at the end of it.
Yeah.
A friend of mine is doing something weird as shit right now. He's an old coworker of mine. He is building his own cockpit for it so he can play his PC flight simulators inside of it. A lot of progress so far.
Yep.
But
I had
weird.
a friend that was way into PC flight simulators. He had like, the giant ass stick and the rudders and everything.
Oh, okay.
And it was just like, cool, y'all.
I do have a fight stick that you have to that if you play PlayStation or Xbox ones, you have to plug in the actual controller into it at the same time.
Weird.
Which is strange, but okay.
Let's see. Let's do one more. This one comes in from Chelly. Chelly says, "Dear Jeff, any word on some new T-shirts? I've been dying to get a Loco Steve shirt for ages, and I'm mad. I missed so many chances. Will there be any sort of big announcements for us to catch when they go on sale, or do we just have to keep our eyes peeled at all times? Also, as a puppet, did you find the portrayal of puppet life in Happy Time Murder movie to be accurate or an offensive stereotype? I hope the recent spike in attempts at proper puppet representation don't come off as too phony to you. Longtime fan." That's from Chelly. As far as shirts go, I've been thinking about doing a thing where I ask the community. I don't have any ideas right now. It's the main thing. It's like I can commission somebody to make a shirt. I just don't have an idea of what to put on a shirt. Like I don't really want to do a second Red Dead shirt, and I don't know if I want to do just like a generic Rage Select shirt. But if so, what to put on it? So I think I'm probably going to do a thing. I don't know. We got to do a fundraiser before the month is out. Maybe I'll do a thing at some point where we do like a Twitter thing or like a write-in thing where like if you're it doesn't even have to be, you don't have to draw it, I need an idea, and if I get the idea then I can get somebody to draw it and then maybe like send you one for free, right? It could be like one of those things. Like I don't have money to give you like a cash prize or anything, but I can give you one shirt of your choosing for free,
and they can't just be Jeff fucks blank. It's not a thing. Don't do that.
Well, I'm going to be the one to
read those.
I'm going to be the one to read them, so it's not
just
like
Jeff fucks Mantis Lady over and over again.
It's like, well, I guess we're not having a shirt. I guess you guys don't want shirts then, huh? As far as that Happy Time Murders go, I was less upset about the representation of puppets as I was at how badly you bungled a story that writes its fucking self.
Yeah.
It's a noir story that's been told 100 times. How did you fuck this up this bad? How did you structurally fuck this up? Does nobody know how to write a joke where you're from? Do you not know what a joke is?
It was unfortunate.
Like go watch Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid and like Who Framed Roger Rabbit and Chinatown and The Big Sleep, and then just like fucking do rails of cocaine and write it. Like I could write that script in a weekend and make it 10 times funnier than stupid fucking
that movie had a lot of promise.
The fact that the puppet's pubic hair was like a plot point, and I'm just like, get the fuck out of here. Happy Time Murders.
I've been trying to make that movie for years too, which is why I'm surprised by how bad it was.
Like why is Melissa McCarthy a sugar drug addict? Why does she need a puppet liver?
I don't know.
Why? It doesn't have anything to do with the plot. The plot was revenge, and
it's really bad.
The dame was just don't watch it.
That's not great.
You don't watch it either. My dog is wagging his tail. He wants to go outside. All right, let's see. We got a couple more here. Marcus writes in and says, hello, Jeff and Michael. Thank you for the great Avengers Endgame spoiler talk. For John and I, that spoiler talk made me hyped to watch Endgame again. My question is, name one fictional character from movies and TV and video games that would be worthy of holding Mjolnir. I nominate Arn from Final Fantasy X, Ellen Ripley from the Alien movies, and Jean-Luc Picard from Star Trek. Keep up the great work. Love everything. That's from Marcus.
Well, a couple of my answers I've actually seen, so
Yeah.
I've seen Superman wield that fucking thing.
Yeah, that's a good
It's
one.
so cool.
Yeah. I love that little skit about Thor meeting Mr. Rogers.
Oh yeah, that's a great
that thing. Like, talk about a short story. That thing makes me weep in like a one paragraph, and it's just like,
it's so
damn.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Just the idea of him like grabbing it and just like, this is kind of neat. And I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a thing.
Yeah, and then it just being like, some people are good at some things, but not everyone's good at everything, and yeah,
so nice.
it's a very heartwarming story. Let's see, is worthy of holding the hand? So, I mean, like the
That's
whole
a tough question. just in
criteria
general.
of what does worthy mean. Maybe we could constrain ourselves to the Marvel universe. I think in the context of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Spider-Man might be able to do it. He's just such a fucking, oh, gee whiz, Rick. Like, kind of,
totally is.
he doesn't seem like he's ever seen a single bad thing. He doesn't seem like he's seen a nipple in his whole life.
He probably hasn't, to be honest. At least that, like, he is so innocent and just, he totally could lift that fucking thing.
Yeah.
No biggie.
It depends. It also depends on the criteria of what criteria we're using. Like, because I feel like they never go into very much. It's like you just have to be worthy.
That's the
what
thing
they
is
say
they're
in the
like, you have
movie.
to be worthy. But it's like, I've seen Thor do some weird, shady shit in that series.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fictionally, yeah. I don't know. Like, some of the most worthy, like Jean-Luc Picard's a great fucking answer, though. Like, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
But he probably would never really use it, though. Kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like.
He's not the kind of guy who would use that sort of thing.
I mean, there's that one time in Darmok and Jalad where he was trapped on that planet with that one alien, and they maybe like call it, and they would break out of the Starship.
I guess that's
Enterprise,
true,
right?
yeah.
Just go right through that fish tank out into space, and then just rocket down on the planet. And like, how great would it be if there's a random episode of Star Trek where Jean-Luc Picard holds his hand up, and you're like, "What's going on?" And then like everybody's like, "I don't know. He's been doing that for like 5 minutes," and then fucking Mjolnir just swung, it goes into his hand. He's like, "I heard there were Romulans here."
It's like, Riker, keep the bridge safe. I'll be right back. And just starts fucking somebody up.
I give it. I give a lot of the. I mean, like, okay, I think Kirk's too much of a fuck about to be able to do it. But I
Kirk
think
would never be able to lift that shit.
I think, you know what? I'm gonna
Spock
say
could do that, no fucking issue, though.
I think that before, I don't know, man. You get the pond fire, Spock gets all crazy. Like,
guess
you don't know
that's-
what's going
I don't
on.
know.
But you know who could? Benjamin motherfucking Sisko, because he is
Oh, okay.
already space Jesus.
He
is more pure than Jean-Luc Picard. Because you know what? Picard hates kids. Like, he
guess that's
fucking
true.
hates kids. He gives Wesley Crusher the stink eye for 8 seasons.
Everyone gives Wesley Crusher the stick.
That's fine. That's fine. You know, there's that one episode where like the kids wanted to have Jean-Luc Picard Day on the Enterprise in like season 2, and he's just like, "Oh, Riker, you go deal with it. I don't want any part of that."
that's right.
And it's like, but Benjamin Sisko is like the greatest father in the world, who then became the actual savior of an entire planet full of people because wormhole aliens deemed him to be their emissary. He was a religious icon, for fuck's
He
sake.
literally was.
As well as the man who created the one ship in the Star Trek universe that was made specifically to kill Borg, because Borg killed his wife, and Benjamin Sisko to just fuck around when something kills his wife. They might come back for his kids, so he made the Defiant specifically to murder the Borg. He also punched Q in the face.
Which is impressive in its own right.
He also toppled the fucking the founders, the Jem'Hadar. Like, this motherfucker did it all, and you know, damn, if
know
he
who
can't
can-
lift Mjolnir, I don't know who can.
Inspector Gadget.
Data though, Data could probably lift Mjolnir.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
If Vision can lift the Mjolnir, fucking Data can lift that shit.
Yeah.
I think Inspector Gadget could do it. Yeah,
he's just so clueless that he's never been marred by anything in life.
He would never consider it, like using it for anything
Fuck
ridiculous.
that. I think the brain could lift it, but not the Spectre Gadget.
Probably.
He'd probably jerk both of his weird robot arms out of the socket trying to do it. But
Gizmo Duck.
Gizmo Duck.
Not Darkwing. He would never be able to lift that shit.
It's a Launchpad McQuack before I get to Gizmo Duck. Gizmo Duck's a fucking sexual pervert, you know.
I bet you Launchpad McQuack could lift that shit.
Maybe.
I absolutely believe Launchpad McQuack is worthy.
Maybe so.
He'd crash all the time, but he could totally lift that.
Try to fly and then yeah. All right, I've talked about Benjamin Sisko enough. I think we have time for one more question. Oh, and I definitely want to make sure that this one gets on here. Sorry, this was just like there's so many different. Okay, Mauricio writes in again. He wrote in last week. Says, "Hey, Jeff and Michael, Mauricio here again with another email." Context. I heard last week's email about Oscar about how much he hated Devil May Cry 5 and how the reboot was so much better. People are entitled to their own opinion, but it was grinding my gears when he said that the reboot was better. Well, that just doesn't seem like a sentence that tracks, Mauricio.
There's only two things I hate in this world: those who belittle other people's cultures and the Dutch.
Yes, dude. Did you not use Dante's ability to guard, dodge, and have additional moveset with Swordmaster that the reboot didn't have? I like the reboot, but I wish it had that feature too. Also, soundtrack for DMC5 rocks. This got me thinking: what are some games you played in the past that you wish it had game mechanics from modern sequel / counterpart from any game series? For example, have the reboot DMC have the 4 style switch that DMC5 had on the D-pad, or feature JRPG games that have features that JRPG games have in Western RPGs now. Thanks. P.S. Love your Avenger spoiler cast. This is just something about the Endgame spoilers for Endgame. I'm not going to talk about them. I'll read it later. So
certain people don't do a thing, I guess.
yeah, there's a thing, whatever. In any case, okay, listen, I've talked about this a lot before. You're a good person to have here. I was talking about this with Matt the other day. Look, you have to explain it to me. I've never met a fan base that will not let you like a thing than Devil May Cry fans at DMC.
Never.
Like I'm not even asking you to like it. I don't even think anybody should like it. Mauricio wrote in because somebody else wrote in. I didn't say this. Somebody else wrote in the podcast and was like, I liked DMC more than Devil May Cry 5. That's just me. Here's my question this week. What didn't you like more than another thing? And like, Mauricio has now written in to say, no! Like, Mauricio, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to get down on you, but this is funny. People are entitled to their own opinion, but it was grinding my gears when he said the reboot was better. like he's entitled either one or the other. I mean, like, okay, I understand.
That's such a great line, by the way.
I understand.
I appreciate you, Maurice.
The thing,
there's a tough one with that one, what to explain exactly my vitriol from DMC.
But I mean, I can't. Like, I understand. There are games I don't like. There are games I don't like.
My vitriol actually extends past the game itself, though.
Right?
Because like everything leading up to it was just them like shitting on the original fan base for like a year before the game came out.
Okay, but you know what? I didn't read into that. I just played this one video game. Like, it wasn't. I mean,
but that's the thing is the fan base did, and the fan base was pissed off at those motherfuckers. I'm still mad at that fucking dude.
But the game is the thing that's not.
The game is just
you just play a game.
The game's okay. It's just not as I thought it wasn't as fast paced. I thought the bosses were a lot easier than I felt like it should have. The story wasn't all that good.
100%. But to me, it's this phenomenon if I'm out in the world, I feel like if I'm at a Starbucks and I'm just like, hey, everybody, I like that DMC reboot, there's going to be like one person's going to jump up and be like, no, Devil May Cry 4 was 10 times the game of DMC. I will not have you standing here saying that DMC was not a bad game. Like, that seems to be the entire
thing. It is pretty amazing.
Even though y'all won. The old
we won, and I'm so happy about that.
Fan base won.
Fuck those guys.
Fucking Ninja Theory.
Well, specifically the people who were like shitting on the original series with their. It's a long thing. It's a long series of things.
The original series. the second game isn't any good. Like,
yeah, but 1 and 3 is amazing,
right?
And they were just shitting on the idea of Dante as a person. It was a long thing.
Okay,
it was a long fucking series of them saying shitty things about Devil May Cry.
You know, I guess the thing is that I don't know.
We want to make Dante cool. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I guess I've never met. I've never met with this level.
He had like the same haircut he had originally before they changed it. It was fucking weird.
Like the whole idea. I think I was watching your Let's Play that you did a long time ago.
Oh yeah, years ago.
Thing where like the mop falls on his head and it's got like the white hair and then it's like a wig that flies on his head and then he takes it off. He's just like, nah, and throws away. And I feel like Devil May Cry fans are just like, oh, how dare you disrespect Dante?
I was pretty upset when that happened, by the way.
It's a joke. It's just so fun. Okay.
Well, because like I said, everything that led up to that point, like it was them shitting on it. So I saw that differently than you did because I had kept up with all the dumb shit that happened prior to that.
Oh man,
it's a long fucking God. It's just frustrating.
All right,
there's a whole backstory.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, you know what? People are already going to be hitting the dislike button because I said I like DMC because you know that's what it is.
Because it's awful. It's just okay. I don't think it's the worst thing ever. See, I've lightened up on it, but still,
I would definitely say that like I wouldn't want to play DMC with the control set of Devil May Cry. Like I like that it's its own thing. Like I didn't dislike the systems. And like, yeah, I mean, you know, plenty of people do. Like I remember, because from my perspective, it was like I played the demo for DMC and I was just like, oh, this is fine. And I was like, oh, people are mad about this. Let me go to YouTube, find out why they're mad. And this guy's like, look, with 4 button presses, I can juggle this character to get a triple S rank on this stage. And I'm just like, rank? I'm here for the fucking story, dude. Like, I don't give a shit about.
Some people's issues were ones where I'm like, I'm not with them. I'm not with those people right now.
Yeah.
Like I get why some of those people are mad, but they're kind of crazy.
Anyway, games that you wish had mechanics from other entries in their same franchise.
I want parrying to come back in a Street Fighter.
Okay, because like tech hits or whatever.
Because Street Fighter 3 had it, and it made some really interesting matches. And Street Fighter 5, like Ryu, can kind of do it, but not really.
Because 4, they put in the like that. It was like the inky
the
like
focus attack.
Yeah.
And then they took that out too, and it's not a thing in 5. Which I used focus attack a lot, which is very frustrating. Like that's the thing is about fighting games is that a lot of stuff I'm like, I wish this was in this, and then just like they just never use it again.
Right on.
Like Marvel vs. Capcom's really weird about that too, where they're like certain attacks will change in a way that, like the mechanic of the ultimate web throw. I fucking hate the way it works from 3 and up, because in 3 and Infinite, like because in the original games, all you had to do was just the web just had to hit like the animation of the web just had to look like it hit them, and then that's how and then it activated. Whereas in the other one, they have to be above it for some reason, even though it's like clearly a shot. They get that. It's fucking stupid.
Okay.
But like stuff like that, like fighting games, like I wish some mechanics that worked better and some continued with it. Like Mortal Kombat 9 has that great co-op fighting mode that just is not in any of the other games.
Is that not any of those?
As far as I know, it's not in 11. It's not in 10. I know that much.
Okay.
And I used to love doing that thing. Me and my friend would just like we would go online and just me and him
climb a tower
and just like start whooping people's asses.
Oh yeah,
it's the fucking best. The same with some of the stuff in Street Fighter Cross Tekken. Some of that co-op stuff too. I thought that was really fun. And there was some really interesting stuff coming out of that. It's a lot of fighting game mechanics that I wish continued going on with stuff, but you know that's neither here nor there, I guess.
I wish that Sekiro had summoning so that I could beat it, because I still haven't beaten it, and I don't know that I ever will. Because, or how about if you wanted to put things from previous games into it? Yeah, some summoning. How about summoning in Sekiro? I don't have time to get good, you assholes.
Yeah.
And I don't want to watch the ending. I just want to beat the game one time and then go on with my fucking life. I don't have to learn this guy's pattern until it's etched into my goddamn brain. You know what? Talking about like previous games and then taking like mechanics from previous games and putting them into like later games. I kind of wish that there was like a version of some of the Resident Evil 5 and 6 that were tuned so that you couldn't move and shoot at the same time. I always thought that was it never bothered me in a huge way, but like it made the tension in 4 was so much higher because you had to pick: am I going to be shooting or am I going to be moving? And I can only do one. And in a lot of ways, that's relatively realistic, and that people don't aim whilst running.
It's really hard,
or even walking is somewhat difficult. Like people tend to stop when they're going to shoot. So the idea that you couldn't do both at the same time to me was always like, it was never a problem for me. Of course, when they added it back in, it was still like, I don't know, is it fun or is it not fun? Like, in the RE2 remake, you can walk and you can aim and then walk at the same time. So I would maybe think about bringing it back, because I always thought that was a really good, because in 4 you never really were as depleted on like ammo and stuff, but it still made, especially those big groups of like the villagers, very scary, because it's like, well, fuck, what am I going to do here? Like I can shoot them, but the closer the more I shoot them, the closer they get to me. So
as a joke answer, tank controls back in everything. Just only tank controls.
Tank controls have a place that I think that, I mean, I don't really like them a lot, but the thing is that I think that horror games that obfuscate your control methods are scarier, because, if you could just hit a button to dodge and then like Dante flip backwards and shoot Nemesis in the head 50 times, well, that wouldn't be very scary, would it? Like it would just, you need to depower the player in a little bit in some ways, in my opinion, to make things really scary, or have the threat be so overpowered that it just, comes out that way. You know what? That's enough. That's enough podcast. It's too much podcast. Michael, when you're not here, where are you out on the internet?
You can find me on oneofus.net doing the review sometimes.
There you go. And you can find me right here on Range Select, because I'm Dr. Jeff for Range Select. It's my website. Bye.